Good morning, everybody. Hello. What's up? What's going on with y'all? How it is? What up? What y'all doing? Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Let's begin the pile-in to the Apostate Ape channel. What is up, everybody? Good morning, good morning. Just fired up the live. Getting it rolling for today. Y'all know what time it is. Once again, it is time for I think day 92 in a row now of day 92 in a row of the live stream here of debating the Christians every stinking day. It's been pretty cool. It's been pretty cool. It's been a pretty awesome experience thus far, and I hope it continues to be one. This is the channel where you can watch an undereducated hick from Alabama perform an intellectual takedown of the Christian faith, doctrine, and logic for your entertainment. But also, hopefully, to make the world a better place. Because these religions are making the world a worse place. And they really need to go. And this is how I'm hoping we can show people that these ideas are very, very bad and very, very dangerous. And Christian nationalism and such is not cool. It's not funny. And nobody likes that shit but them. And it's bad. Valara Supply, if you requested up on Purpose to Talk, hang out for a couple more minutes. Maybe 2 more minutes if you don't care, if you're on purpose anyway. Anyway, y'all know what time it is. If you are watching this as a replay on my YouTube channel, please, please, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. Share it out if you don't care. It really helps me out. Also, don't forget, my homeboy, Dr. Joshua Bowen, writes books. Very, very educational books. If you like learning, he's your fucking guy. Especially if you like learning stuff for geared toward apologetics and defeating them, because he easily does that if you haven't caught the show before. But we've been on his latest book, Learn to Read Ancient Hebrew, Volume 1, and been learning Ancient Hebrew. It's pretty amazing. But he has other books too, like the Atheist Handbook to the Old Testament, Volumes 1 and 2, and they have extremely good scholarly information geared explicitly toward combating bad apologetics, which is basically all apologetics in the Bible. Some of them like kind of clever, but not really. Anyway, also don't forget, Huntsville, Alabama, this October, the Rocket City Reason Conference is going down on the 23rd, the 24th, and the 25th. And some of the biggest names in atheist debaters and YouTubers are going to be there. Names like Forrest Valkai, Gutsy Gibbon, the Godless Engineer, Thinker's going to be there. I did say Forrest. Seth Andrew is going to be there. Black Atheist Rants. It's going to be freaking pimp. So if you can afford it and you can swing out that way, make sure you're there this October. It's a whole bunch of time to like plan it still, so that's pretty cool. And it'll be pretty fucking awesome. Now, it is time. Well, I guess it's not time. Never mind. Wasn't a purposeful request there. The algorithm's flowing slow this morning, as usual anyway. Got to give it a minute to boot up there. But good morning, everybody. Good morning. And let's see. Oh, yeah, it's still going. The algorithm on the TikTok has changed into like an old man. Like it wakes up and it's got to stretch for a while and have some coffee and get moving a little bit. But anyway, we had a awesome day yesterday. Talked to the same person nearly for the entire show yesterday. So that was pretty freaking cool. It was a good conversation. It's on my YouTube channel also at Apostate Ape. If you haven't seen that, check that out. It is pretty amazing. So, we are gonna, I reckon, sit here and wait patiently until our first person of the day to talk to runs up in here. Got a pretty good while to roll on today too. I'd say got a good 2.5 or 3 hours I can be on, considering the show's going pretty good. So hopefully, as usual, it will be that will be the case. That'll be pretty awesome. Welcome in, everybody. Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. What's up? Where are we at here? Oops, forgot to check. Barely even 5 minutes that it's been going, so give it a minute to pile up and get this algorithm a cup of coffee here to get moving. And undoubtedly, the show will kick off pretty awesomely like normal. Yeah, it's looking right. Shit. I'm keeping on my. Sorry, I got a little tablet thing here too. Okay, I won't have to touch that. Slide that back up there. What is up this morning? What's up, everybody? What's going on? Got some likes piling up already. If y'all don't care, tap that screen for me. Get some, get this algorithm moving along, man. It's trying to be sluggish this morning. It's barely clicking up. Some of them little violation things don't have nothing to do with that shit. I don't think, anyway. Well, maybe we'll go on. Let's see. Okay. Well, let's shit. Let's go and try. See what's up here. I think it's loading in there.
What's up, man?
You there?
Yeah, how are you doing?
Doing well. Are you're over 18, ain't you?
Sorry, I didn't hear you well.
You're over 18?
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. Are you one of the Christians?
Yeah, I'm a Christian. So what do you want to discuss?
Which one of these? Yeah, I was going to ask you which one of these topics you want to discuss up here.
Oh, I mean, why would you... I mean, we can go with the second one first. That's the easiest one. So what do you mean by the... So I assume you mean that God of the Bible supports slavery and rape by that second form?
Yeah, condones it. That means to permit or allow, yeah.
Could you show me a verse which support your position? We can
that the Bible or God condones slavery?
Yeah, or we can go the...
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them, actually.
Yeah, we can go...
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, let's do one by one.
Yeah, Leviticus 25 is the first one, verse 44, 45, and 46.
So just give me a second and I get the verse as well.
Yeah, you got your Bible handy?
Yes. So you said, which verse?
Leviticus 25, verse 44, 45, and 46.
25...
You there? You got it?
Yeah. It's a bit hard. Just give me a second. The pages. Yeah, I'm here. You want to read it or?
Yeah. So, but right before we read it, though, are you saying this book does not condone slavery? Would that be your current position?
So I would say that there's a difference between prescription and description. As a whole, the Bible does not support slavery.
Oh, okay. All right. So Leviticus 25, verse 44. As for the male and female slaves whom you may have, it is from the nations around you that you may acquire male and female slaves. You may also acquire them from among the aliens residing with you, and from their families who are with you, who have been born in your land. They may be your property. You may keep them as a possession for your children after you, for them to inherit as property. These you may treat as slaves, but as for your fellow Israelites, no one shall rule over the other with harshness. So that seems pretty clearly to be straight up telling people where you can acquire your slaves.
Yeah, sure does.
Sure does.
But then I would say you need to look at how Jesus changed things.
What did Jesus change?
Yeah, basically I could look up the verse exactly, but
well, there's not one. Jesus never says don't own slaves.
No.
In fact,
he never
more like slaves obey your masters,
that.
even the cruel ones. Yeah.
No, yeah, he never said that. So there's the story that there was a slave who ran away, and there's the master as well who came to get him. But what happened here is that when they were talking, it said to the slave that he need to go back to his master, obey him. But what was said to the master is that when he comes back, to not take him back as a slave, but as a brother instead. So the reason why it's not explicit
is that telling people not to slavery is a bad institution.
Yeah, it's implying it's bad. But you might ask why Jesus did not
plainly say even if that was the case, why would I pay attention to a book that says, hey, this one guy was like, kind of freed or kept as, whatever. But then at the same time, it says clearly you can have male and female slaves. You can sell your daughter as a slave. If you make war on somebody, you can take women and children as war captives, slaves. So, I mean, why would I pay attention to one verse in the New Testament that doesn't even say you can't own slaves when there's all this other stuff saying you can definitely own slaves?
Well, unfortunately, that's just part of the system. The reason, for example, why Jesus did not condemn slavery
why do you support
directly.
A system like this?
No, it's not supported.
It is. It's saying you can own them as property. It's allowing it. It's okay.
Just let me make my argument. The reason why Jesus could not outright ban slavery is because that would be considered a revolution in the Roman Empire. Most of their workforce was actually slaves. So if Jesus just said one day, okay, you need to abolish slavery, then the Roman economics would just fall down and would be considered a revolutionist.
He was already considered that. In fact, that's why he was crucified. So maybe he should have went ahead and said, don't own people as property.
No, by the Jews. He was considered by the Jews.
No, it was by the Romans.
Pilate himself would not have crucified him if not for the pressure of the rabbis. Yeah, that's true. That's what he said. That's why he washed his hands.
It doesn't matter. He still died under Rome. Rome is the ones who crucified him. And he was charged with sedition. That's inciting a riot against Rome. So if instituting or saying you can't have slaves would have incited a riot, what difference does it make?
Yeah, but you need to look at how the Romans, Pontius Pilate, say that this man is free from sin. This man did not commit any crime. That's why he washed himself.
So?
He washed his hands.
So?
The only people who wanted him crucified were the Jews, the rabbis at the time, the Pharisees.
Yeah, I know, but the Jews were powerful, and the Jews are the ones the Romans were trying to keep in check. So, in reality, the second one of these higher-ranking Jewish temple leaders would have went to Pilate and said, hey, this peasant dude over here is making trouble, Pilate would have just said, get rid of him then. And it would have been that simple.
Sure, but we still cannot ignore the fact that Jesus taught, the teaching of Jesus themselves, they are against slavery. If you need to follow the commandments, that's
he never says he's against slavery. Not once.
Yeah, he
even makes remarks like in Luke. Like in Luke, he says, if a slave does this, do you thank him? Of course not. Jesus doesn't even say thank you to slaves. Like, he did not have the mind frame that slavery was bad. It's not reflected anywhere in the Bible. Slavery is just fine. It's acceptable. It's permitted. It's condoned. It's all in
Yeah,
there.
but that's just an argument from silence. If Jesus tells you you need to love your neighbor
It's
as
not an
yourself,
argument from silence. It's an argument from it says it's okay. Like if it just didn't say anything at all about slavery anywhere, that would be one thing. But
where
the
did
book
Jesus say
straight
it's
up
okay
says
for
over
slavery?
and over, Jesus said, keep all my commands. He's talking about all the commandments, the law of Moses. And these are laws of Moses that says you can own people as property. It says you can
And
sell
Jesus
your
also
daughter
said,
as
I
a
give you a
slave.
new commandment.
And what was that new covenant?
A new commandment. Yeah, I give you a new commandment. Love your God
And what was
with all your heart, with all your strength, all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. And from these two commandments, all these laws come from.
Yep. Leviticus 19, verse 18. You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against any of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. So he's saying keep Levitic law, isn't he?
Well, we have the moral law, we have ceremonial law, we have civil laws. These laws do not apply.
He's saying the greatest of all commands are a command from Leviticus chapter 19, right?
No, the greatest of all commandments is loving your God and loving your neighbor.
And I just read that to you from Leviticus chapter 19, verse 18. That's what it said. That's a law of Leviticus.
Where did Jesus say that the Levitical commands are the greatest one?
What?
Where did Jesus say that these commandments are the greatest one?
What difference does it make? I know he said it. You just said it. I agreed that he said it, right?
Yeah, but you're saying that the Levitical command are the greatest one. But here Jesus said that loving your neighbor, loving your God, these are the greatest commandments, and all the laws follows from that.
He says those are the greatest, not the only two. Now, listen real close. Please just listen to what I'm asking you here. Jesus is saying the greatest of all commands is loving your neighbor as yourself. At least one of them, right?
Yeah.
Just yes or no, right?
Yeah.
All right. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 18. I'm going to read it to you. You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against any of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I'm reading you a law from Leviticus, right?
Leviticus 19, and then what's the verse?
Verse 18. So Jesus is naming a Levitic law and saying this is one of the greatest of two commands, right?
Just give me a second. Yeah, sure, he does say that.
Right. So he's saying keep Levitic law. He's naming a law from Leviticus and saying keep this. Yeah? I don't understand why this is so hard to answer. Like, we literally just read the law from Leviticus. So it's Levitic law, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's Levitic law.
But I would say that's more of a moral law than the civil law, ceremonial law.
It doesn't matter. It's still Levitic law. Jesus is saying the greatest of a command is one of the Levitic laws.
You need to agree there are different types of law: ceremonial law, civil law, moral law. The only law that we are
there's not different laws. You can classify them different ways, but there's only one law in the Bible, and that's all it ever mentions. It doesn't say these are each three different sections of law here. And it doesn't even matter.
Jews have their own ceremonial law, but the Gentiles
That's not the law of Moses.
Are not bind to that.
And it's not the law of Moses.
Yeah, but the Gentiles, the non-Jews are not bound.
Oh my goodness! Could I just make my point? Would that be okay?
Okay, sure.
All right. Jesus is saying one of the greatest laws to keep is from Leviticus 19, right?
Oh yeah, he's just explaining that that's the law to keep, the greatest law to keep. Does not make it all the Levitical law greatest. It's just one particular law.
He's saying to keep this one law, but don't worry about none of the rest. Is that what you're saying Jesus is saying?
I did not say that. I'm just saying that he quoted this particular law since this is a law that would apply to, well, so it's a moral law that would apply to all the times.
What Jesus is saying is that if you keep these two, you're basically keeping all the rest. He's saying if you keep these two, the rest will kind of fall into place. But that's not sufficient enough if you have any reason at all in your brain. Do you have some reason in your brain? Are you capable of like rationale and logic? I think you are. I hope you are.
Yeah, I really don't like that kind of debating. If you're going to be demeaning,
What?
yeah, that's fine.
I'm just asking you, like, you have logic and reason in your head, don't you?
Yeah, I do. But
Okay, well, the word should be easy to follow here. Jesus is saying these are the greatest of two commands. If you keep these two, the rest are just kind of falling into place. But you
yeah,
just agree with me. He is not saying these are the only two laws that you have to keep, right?
no, but it's referring to the Ten Commandments.
He's quoting Levitic law. That's not part of the Ten Commandments.
Yeah, but Jesus said that this is a new commandment.
It's
If
not new. It's from Leviticus.
Okay, but then why would Jesus say that's a new commandment? I give you a new commandment.
Because Jesus says stuff wrong all the time because Jesus isn't actually a Messiah who the New Testament says he is. He's a phony. He's a fraud. And that's just
Or
one of
maybe
your
he's
clues
not
there that you just stumbled
saying
across.
what you think he's saying.
He is. And I can show you that if you'll track with me for a moment.
Well, but
And I
I
really, really
do not
want to.
accept your premise.
We haven't got to a premise. I can barely get you to agree with what you're saying. I haven't gotten to my premise yet. I haven't even discussed it. It hasn't come up, man.
Okay.
I
Okay,
would
so
like it to come
what's
up
the
though, if
point that
that's cool.
would you love to make?
Okay. Jesus is saying, here's a new command that's not even new. He's saying one of the greatest of all commands is from Leviticus chapter 19, right?
Okay, sure.
Right. Okay, yeah. So he's saying, here's this great law from Leviticus, and it's the best one. It's one of the two best ones you can possibly get. So if you read something Jesus is quoting from Leviticus, and you agree that Jesus is not saying that's the only law you have to keep, then you have to take other laws into account as well. So we just read one from Leviticus chapter 19. Here's
Okay.
one from Leviticus chapter 21. When a daughter of a priest profanes herself through prostitution, she profanes her father. She shall be burned to death. Do you think?
Okay,
Do you
just
think?
quickly to resume
Hold
what
on,
you're
I'm
saying.
not even done. I was right in the middle of a question. I was saying, do you think that this is a good and moral law to set women on fire for prostituting themselves?
Okay, just to resume what you said. So you believe your point is that Jesus said that, yeah, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. What you shall love your neighbor as yourself. He's quoting a Levitical law. Then
Yep.
therefore all the Levitical laws are good to go. That's
Yeah,
what
he
you're
says to
saying.
keep all my commands, all of them, not some of them, all of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of these commands that's included in all the commands is that you set a woman on fire if she prostitutes herself. Do you think that is a good and moral law that God has given the Israelites here?
Well, but that still will be a ceremonial or civil law. It's not a moral law. The
I'm
moral law
asking
or the
you
one
if you
grounded
think
in
it's
God's command.
moral. I'm asking you what you think about it.
Right. You know, about that. So I believe that if God's command it, then there must be a good reason for it.
So there's a good reason to set women on fire for prostituting themselves, right?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't read the context yet. So,
There's no way that you really think it's okay to set a woman on fire because she's a prostitute.
well, certainly no. Could you get me that verse again?
Thank you. That's what I was trying to get you to. I was just trying to show you that you disagree with these laws. You're taking one you like loving your neighbor, which I don't think anybody would argue that's bad on its own. The point is, that Jesus says to keep all of these laws. So if you want to agree with Jesus, then you can't just say Leviticus 19 is the one and not also this one. But you just agreed with me that this is not a good law. And I would suspect that you would also agree that owning people as property is also not good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's never right
Yeah.
to
So it
own
sounds like
people.
you're better than your own religion.
Well, no, that still does not mean that the Bible condones slavery.
All right. Well, let's go
You
read it
need
again. All right. Leviticus
this
chapter
is you know
25, verse
this,
44.
for the verse that you quoted. That's part of the civil law. That's not a moral law.
It doesn't matter. It's part of the laws, and you have to keep all the laws. We've already agreed on this, didn't we? This
No,
isn't
we do
saying you
not
have to
have
own a slave
the
right here. It's just
the
saying you
only
can if you want
law.
to.
The only law that you are obligated to keep are the moral laws.
I thought we agreed that Jesus said to keep all my commands.
What commands did Jesus say?
All of them. All means all, doesn't it? It doesn't
All
mean
my
just keep the moral
commandments.
laws. It means keep all of the laws. All the commandments, the commandments of Moses. There's only one set of commandments, and there's
Yeah, the
more
Ten
than 10.
Commandments. The Ten
No,
Commandments.
no, there's way more than 10. Jesus doesn't even name one of the 10 and the two greatest. That's Levitic law, not one of the 10 commandments. So you're not going to win that argument, I'm telling you. You have to keep all of them. All means all. That's how language works. When Jesus says keep all of my commands, he means every single one of them, not just the moral ones. That's how language works, you know. So
Okay.
when God says, in Leviticus 25, as for the male and female slaves whom you may have, he is saying you can in fact have male and female slaves.
Okay, but you still, when Jesus says, keep all my commandments, uh, he still said that this is my command, that love one another as I have loved you. This is his commandment.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
not
what I'm saying.
referring,
I
yeah,
have a pretty big,
it's not
this whole
referring to the
thing gets
Levitical
pretty
law.
foggy when you read a verse that says love your neighbor as yourself, and then the very next chapter says you can own your neighbor as property.
No, I'm referring to what
Yeah,
Jesus actually said. The commandment that
me
Jesus
too.
said to keep is love one another as I have loved you.
Levitic law. Yes, we've been over this.
Is not, yeah, but I'm still maintaining that he's not mentioning ritual, civil, or Levitical regulations.
I know he doesn't mention them. He says, keep all my commands. So I
And
can
the
only
commandment
assume
that,
that he did not mean just keep the moral commands. He meant keep all of them. That means
and
all the commands.
well, you're wrong because his commandment
Oh,
is that
no, I'm not
love
wrong.
one
Jesus is
another as
wrong. Jesus
Jesus.
is the one who
No,
says
you're
that, not me.
wrong. Just read John
No,
15:12. This is his commandment. Love one another as
it
I
is
have
from
loved you.
John. He says, if you love me, you'll keep all my commands.
And he says, this is my command, that you love one another as I have loved you.
No, he says these are the two greatest commands, not the two
Yeah,
only
every
commands. He did
commandment
not
comes
say
from
you only
these.
have to do this.
And all
Yeah,
the
but that's
laws, all the
not saying
commandment
don't
comes
keep
from
any
this
of the other
verse.
ones. You still have to do other stuff, man. I'm telling you.
Every law, every commandment comes from this commandment of Jesus. Do not steal, do not murder, do not lust after people. All these comes from this single commandment of Jesus,
Yeah,
that
and
you
it
love one
also
another
says to
as I
set
have loved
women
you.
on fire if they're prostitutes.
Yeah, that's not a moral law. It's not
Yes, it
in
is.
line with
They
God's
consider that
character.
moral. God considers it moral because he ordered people to do it. Why would God
No,
order people to do things that's immoral? God doesn't do that, does he?
that's a civil law. And it's pertaining only to the
Okay.
daughter of a
It's
priest.
one of the commands. It doesn't matter. It's a command from God. It says you have
How
to do
is
it. You
it?
have to purge the evil from among you.
Is it a commandment directly from God, or is it man that put this law?
Oh, so it's a man's
Because
law all of a sudden.
we
Man wrote Leviticus
well,
19 too. You know that, right?
we have different laws for different people, and you need to remember that Levitical laws are a way for the Jews, for the people of Israel, to separate themselves from other nations. That's why they have so many laws that are so hard to keep. This is to show that they cannot
Did men
fulfill
write Leviticus 19 too?
their description of what man is doing. Not everything is a prescription, as I've said in the start of our
Is
conversation.
Leviticus 19, is that a man-written law is what I'm asking you? Did man write that one?
Oh, I would still maintain that's a juridical law. I'll need to check the context properly to say if it's God commanded it directly or if let it go.
How do you know which ones man wrote and which ones God commanded?
Well, if you are going to make argument, you need to harmonize the Bible. You see how God treated the people at different time, and even if you see sometimes that God is rough.
Oh, so God treated different people differently in different times?
No, that's not what I meant. You need to see how God.
That's what you just said. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe I misunderstood you.
No, that's fine. Maybe I do not say what I meant properly.
Yeah. Okay.
So you need to see that the character of God is very patient, and He always there to forgive people from our sin. So we can see that this law is not in line with God's character, but He still permits it because at the time that
does God pass laws that's not in line with His character?
Oh, for example, if you take the will of the Jews to have kings over them, this is not God's plan. This is not what God will. God wanted at first to just have judges over the people of Israel. But what did the people of Israel say? Okay, I don't want judges. We want to be like other nations. We want to have king over us. And God said, okay, fine, so be it. You guys have kings. That's not what God wanted. That's what the people wanted.
So God didn't want kings, so He made an everlasting, unbroken line of kings that'll last forever.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Jesus made David, the line of David, the kings forever, for all the days they live on the earth.
Where did you read that?
God tells David that several times. He says every king after you is going to come from your line. That's why the New Testament tries to make Jesus the son of David, like a descendant of David. That should be obvious.
I mean, yeah, sure. Jesus would be considered as the one prophesied.
So Jesus didn't want anybody in Israel to have a king or be a king. But since the Israelites wanted to have kings, God was like, yeah, okay, y'all can have kings forever then. So then God was like, oh, I don't like slavery, but since y'all like it, we'll just allow it anyway, forever, right?
Oh, God let them have what they desire. You still need to remember that people have free will. If they choose to go against God's will, then they will need to face the repercussion of the action.
Was against His will, and He let people
having kings was against His will, and having kings caused them the
well,
great
how do you know what's actually against God's will and what's not if He's allowing things that are against His will?
Well, it's actually in the Bible. It's the people who wanted to have a king over Him.
Oh.
Over them.
Oh, okay. So how do you know God condone the part where it says love your neighbors as yourself, and just so it wasn't like the will of the human Israelites to put that in there? Maybe that was against God's will, but He allowed it anyway, just because the Israelites wanted to.
Well, we just need to look at what Jesus taught. If you are going to love your neighbor as yourself, as how Jesus has loved us, how Jesus loved us is by way of sacrificial love. He gave us His life. He died for our sin. So if you are going to own a slave, you are not fulfilling that commandment, obviously.
Okay. So how do you distinguish which one's God's will and which one's not? Because clearly God allows things that's against His will.
Well, He can allow men to go their ways, to follow their own will. Yeah, okay. God has a will for us, for our life, but we can choose to reject His will and do our own will. But with
Right.
this
I'm
come
asking you, how do you know which one is the will of God and which one was just a man writing this in there that it was against
well,
God's
the
will?
will of God is
How do you make that distinguishment?
obviously what Jesus reflected in what Jesus preached. Love your neighbor as
Well, Leviticus don't have
yourself.
nothing to do with
Follow my
Jesus, so this is about God's laws that He dictated to Moses. Jesus doesn't have anything to do with these. These are the laws Jesus says you have to keep to get to God explicitly. And not only does He say you have to keep them, He says you have to keep them better than the scribes and the Pharisees, or you will not enter the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah, you need obedience. You can, just like it's, I think that's true. Not everyone who called me Lord, Lord will enter the kingdom. You need to have obedience as well.
That's right. That means you have to keep these commands, and very few people are going to do that.
Yeah,
That was his whole point, right?
And I'm still maintaining that His commandment is love.
Turns out there's not a whole lot of people that's willing to set a prostitute on fire. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, that's still a civil law. That's not a moral law.
Is it one of all the commands?
Well, you need to look at the context. For example,
the context of the word all my commands.
What command did
what
Jesus
does that mean?
speak?
What is all? What is it? What does Jesus mean when He says, "If you love me, you will keep all my commands"?
Jesus did not say to keep the Levitical law. He said His command.
Yes, he did.
In John 15:12, He said, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you."
I like how you took the word "new" out of there, by the way, because you know it's wrong now. Good job on that one. It's almost like you're learning under my tutelage here.
No, in John 15:12, this is that He did not say this is a new commandment. In John 13:44, that He says a new commandment I give to you.
Well, here's what Jesus says Himself. It says, "For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished." Jesus is saying the law will stand, and not one dot nor letter will change until heaven and earth pass away. That's Jesus' words.
Which verse is that?
Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5, verse 17. It says, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish, but to fulfill." So last time I checked, not abolish means the law still stands. And it says, "For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away,
and what law
not
was He
one letter."
referring to?
The law of Moses.
Yeah, what particular law?
The law of Moses.
Yeah, and I'm asking what law in particular He came to fulfill.
What? Do you not know what the law of Moses is?
Oh, I'm asking you if you know it.
You should too.
Yeah.
I do know it. Do you know?
I do.
Then you know that the law of Moses is all these laws, right? The Pentateuch, Leviticus, Numbers, Exodus, Deuteronomy, Genesis. These are all Moses. These are all Mosaic law.
Yeah, and the law He came to fulfill by His sacrifice.
That means keep all the laws. There's only one law.
Yeah, He came to fulfill the law, not to change it. The law
That means the law didn't change.
Yeah, the law did not change, but He came to fulfill it. It's like you have
a price.
The
law did not change. You still have to set prostitutes on fire.
No, that's what I'm saying. Jesus' law that He came to fulfill is by His death. By His death, we do not need to sacrifice blood animal because now He came to fulfill it. It's like you have a penalty to pay and He fulfilled it.
Nope.
Yeah, Jews have to. Jews had to.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Nope.
They do. The Passover lamb. Have you heard about it?
Have you ever heard of if you can't afford animals, you can just bring a little bit of ephah of fine flour?
They still had to sacrifice if they can.
That's not blood, though. That's just a little bit of flour. The New Testament says you have to have blood. And also, God doesn't even say that. God says, if you want forgiveness, just pray, seek my face, turn away from your wicked ways, and I will hear your plea from heaven, and I'll forgive your sin. Like God literally says himself in the Old Testament, if you want forgiveness, just ask for it, turn from your wicked ways, and I'll give it to you. Ain't that great?
Yeah, that's great. But they still had to follow
Yeah.
all these
So
permanent
why
law.
the human sacrifice ritual 500 years after that for that's all of a sudden required for forgiveness?
Well, because Jesus said he came to fulfill the law.
When did Jesus say the law would be fulfilled?
Did you just not quote it?
Yeah, I did. And it doesn't say when he died, does it?
He said it is finished on the cross. That's one of the laws what he said.
Here, I'll read it to you again. It says, for truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished. So this is clearly saying, until heaven and earth pass away, not one dot is going to change from the law. And that's all the law. That doesn't say not one dot or tittle is going to change from the moral law. That
Yeah,
says
but
from
that's a
the
conditional
law.
permanence. It's not an absolute permanence. It's said until all is fulfilled. And
Did
Jesus said
heaven
he
and
came
earth
to
pass
fulfill
away?
the leaf. It's conditional until all is fulfilled.
Did
And he
heaven
said he'd
and
come.
earth pass away?
It's a conditional. He said the heaven and earth will not pass away until all is fulfilled. And Jesus came to fulfill it.
Did
Therefore,
heaven and earth pass away?
are you serious? Jesus said he came to fulfill
Are
the law,
you?
and the verse that you quoted says that truly I say,
No,
until
listen to
all
the
is
words real
finished.
careful here.
Yeah, until all is
Until heaven and
fulfilled.
earth pass away.
Yeah,
Until heaven and earth pass away.
not an iota, not a dot will pass from the law until all is fulfilled. Just keep reading, man. That's not hard.
Until heaven and earth pass away.
And then you need to keep reading. Please don't be like a Muslim. Until all is finished. The law will not pass until all
Why
is
would I keep
finished.
reading when you're not addressing what we just read?
Because you're
All
misquoting
is
the
not
Bible,
accomplished
obviously.
until heaven and earth pass
Pass
away.
away, not an iota, not a dot will pass away from the law until all is
Until
fulfilled.
heaven and earth pass
No,
away.
until heaven pass and earth is
Until
before all is
heaven
fulfilled.
and earth
Good.
pass
Just
away.
pull up the verse
Not
so that
one
everyone
letter,
can see how you're
not
being
one
dishonest.
I'm
Just
not
pull
being
the verse.
dishonest. I'm just
Just
reading
pull
it.
up the
Everybody
verse.
can see that
Just,
you're being
yeah,
dishonest.
everyone can
I'm
read it. Just pull
literally
up the
everybody
verse.
here knows this verse.
Yeah,
Everybody who watches
just
me
pull
has
the
heard
verse
this
so they
verse read
can
1,000
read it
times.
for themselves.
It's Matthew chapter 5,
Verse 18.
verse 17, verse 18, 19, and 20. All of them. It's not a secret. Like, I can't just lie to people. They can just look it up. It's
Yeah,
not.
that's
I'm
right.
not
That's what I'm
misquoting
looking, and I'm
this.
exposing you right now.
Exactly. I'm not misquoting it, am I?
Yes, you are. And for truly I say to you,
How
until
am I
heaven and earth
misquoting
pass
something
away,
by fucking
just
reading
keep
it?
reading.
How am I
Just
misquoting
keep
something by
reading.
reading it?
You're
How am
misinterpreting
I
it
misquoting something by reading
because
it?
you're not quoting it in full.
So I'm misquoting it even though I'm reading it verbatim.
Just keep reading. What I'm telling to you. That's what I'm telling to you. Just keep
Everybody
reading.
knows what this says. It says, for truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished, which is
Yeah,
when
that's right.
heaven and earth pass away. I
No,
know these
how
words
come?
are real difficult for you.
How come?
Therefore,
How come
whoever
that?
breaks
No.
one of the... Hey, hold on. I'm reading it just like you said. So listen. Therefore, whoever breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever teaches them will be called the great in the kingdom of heaven. For truly I tell you, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. He is literally saying that the law is not going away until heaven and earth pass away. And if you do not keep them better than the scribes and the Pharisees, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven.
No, he's saying the law will not pass until all is fulfilled. And until the law is fulfilled, it will not pass.
And when does it say it's fulfilled? That's what you don't seem to be
Jesus on the cross
you keep
said,
saying,
it is
I'm lying
finished.
here, but you're refusing to address the actual words.
On the cross, he said, it is finished.
That is a different part, dude. That's just him dying.
That's in John.
On
That's
the
in the
Sermon of the Mount,
John.
saying, until heaven and earth pass away, not one dot or letter will change from the law. So
Until
until
it is
heaven and earth
fulfilled.
pass
No,
away,
until the law
not
is
one dot is
fulfilled.
going to change from the law.
You're saying until the heaven and earth will pass away. I'm telling you, it's the law. It's the latest
Shit.
word
It's
is
the
law.
law.
The
It's
law
the
that needs to be
freaking law,
fulfilled.
man. Don't you?
Yeah, that's
dude,
what I'm telling to
oh
you.
my
The law
freaking
needs to
God.
be. Stop manifesting, man.
Jesus
It's fine.
Christ. Dude, what the fuck is going on in your head right now? Until heaven and earth pass away. Have heaven and earth passed away, my man?
It's talking about the law that must be fulfilled, not heaven and earth
I
that's
know
going to
what
be
it's talking
passed
about.
away.
If you could get on board, that would be great because
The
the
law,
words are
the law
quite
being
clear
fulfilled
here.
does not imply heaven and earth passing away.
Until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished. Until heaven and earth pass away. Why
The
do
law
you refuse
will not
to address Jesus' words
pass
here?
from until it is fulfilled.
And when is it fulfilled?
On the cross when Jesus said, "It is finished."
Where does it say that in these verses right here?
You need to, if you're going to
Where does it say
quote
that
John,
in
you need
Matthew
to
chapter
read the
5
whole.
in the
That's John, and in
I
John
just
itself,
read
Jesus
the whole
said
thing,
it
and
is
now you're adding
1918.
in words from John into Matthew chapter 5 on the Sermon of the
That's
Mount.
the whole
You are the
gospel.
one. Nope. You are the one being dishonest here. You are refusing to address these words, and you should really consider why you're doing that. I know why you're doing it, but you don't know why you're doing it.
In Matthew itself, that we have a new commandment.
You're doing
it
it because
blood.
you know good and well this is saying the law will stand until heaven and earth pass away.
No,
and you
until
know
the
that
law
these
is
laws
fulfilled.
are actually bad. That's
Until
why
the
you
law
won't
is fulfilled.
admit this.
That's right. The law is bad because if we need to follow the law,
I know it's bad. That's the only reason you're a Christian is because you don't think you have to keep it. But Jesus
No,
here
that's
is
not
clearly
what I
saying you
said.
do have to keep it. And that's
That's
where
not what I
you
said.
refuse to actually address that you have to keep these shitty laws from this shitty God. Congratulations,
No,
buddy.
it's
You
only the
finally
moral
got
law that
there.
applies to us. And as I've said,
Where does it say that?
even
Show
in
us where it
John,
says the moral law. Show us where anywhere in the New
there's
Testament
different
at all
type
it
of
says
law.
you
You need
only
to
have to
study the
keep the
different
moral law.
contexts.
Show us where
There's
it says
different
that. Show us
contexts.
where it says it.
Let's read.
Show us
Let's
where it
keep
says it, or
on
I'm just going to
Matthew
drop you. This is
5,
over. I'm
18.
tired of listening to you. You're
Just
clearly not
go to
addressing the
Matthew
actual words.
26, 28. You will see where
Matthew
we have
26, verse 28. I'm going to read that right now. And if it don't say you only have to keep the moral
No,
law,
it's talking
we're
about
calling you a liar
how
and
the
I'm
law
dropping
is
you.
fulfilled.
Oh. So where does it say only keep the moral laws?
I'm telling you, the law.
Where does it say it? Where? Give
The
us
law
a
has passed.
passage, a
Jesus
verse, a
fulfilled it.
chapter, anywhere. Where does it say
The-
you only have to keep the moral laws?
The law has passed. Jesus fulfilled it. We see it in
Where
Matthew
does
26,
it say
28.
it? I'm trying
For
to give
his
you a
blood
chance to
of the
say
new covenant,
where,
which is shed for
which
many
chapter
remission
should I
of
go
sin.
to? Which chapter?
Matthew 26, 28. He came
Matthew
to fulfill the
26,
law.
28 says, only keep the moral law. Which verse again? Which verse again?
28.
28. For
See,
this
Jesus
my
establishing
blood
the-
of the covenant, which is poured out for the many, forgiveness of sins. That didn't say shit about moral laws.
That's a new law. Sorry,
Man,
that's not a new law. That's a new
you're
covenant.
full of
That's a
it.
new
Look, you've
covenant.
been all right to talk to, but I'm dropping you now. You clearly refuse
I mean,
to
if you
address
want
the
to
actual words of
misinterpret the
Jesus. So
Bible,
you
that's
deserve
fine.
Christianity
That's
in
not
all
on
its
me.
form. You read
I
what you
love
want. You
I
made your own
hope
little religion.
Jesus
We get it. We understand
revealed
you
himself to
refuse
you.
to address these things.
Praying
But
for
hey,
you,
I'm
man.
still
Love
proud
you.
of you because at least you admitted that God's laws are fucking shit.
Ah,
So
no,
thanks
never.
for
I
that.
never did that.
Yeah,
You can
did.
drop me if you want.
Don't even try to. Nope, it's all recorded, buddy. Anyway, thanks for coming up, man. That was a good conversation, but holy shit. That was fucking sad, man. Of course, he can't tell us where it says to only keep the moral law because it doesn't say that. He made the shit up, and it's quite obvious. Anyway, Lordy, 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 Lordy. 5 guests in the queue right now. I seriously doubt they're all still here. Oh boy. I really tried, man. I really did. Like, I'm trying. It is so hard to get people to address the words of what's happening in the verse here. But I get it. I get it. Nobody wants to keep God's shitty ass laws. That's the only reason Christianity survived this long is because it got you out of keeping the law. Unfortunately, Jesus says you do have to keep the law. You people follow what Paul said in saying that the law is abolished, not what Jesus said. And that's why this religion in this book is a big, giant joke. It's a big, bad joke. Anybody with rationale and intelligence can see right through the empty logic of this book. It don't even take long. It takes a second. Anybody can read one sentence and see that it's clearly saying, until heaven and earth pass away, not one dot is changing from the law. That's extremely clear. So the fact that someone can address a single freaking sentence is just freaking sad, man. Alright, let me ban this motherfucker right here. Oops, there we go. Alright, one motherfucker blocked. Congratulations. Alright, well, let's try to bring up some more. Hopefully we can get somebody to address the actual damn words of the book here. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? Not likely, but wonderful. Not likely, but wonderful. It is a great day to be alive. It's a great day. It's always a great day to be alive, you know, considering life's okay. It's worth living. Let's keep it that way. Not move back to the fucking days of the goddamn Bronze Age desert dwellers telling everybody how to live. That's when you get women being set on fire for being prostitutes. And I don't think we like that now. Even the Christians don't. Thank you guys so much for the engagement stuff so far. I appreciate the shit out of you. That was a good conversation. Oh, just to reiterate, the way that I attempt to do myself and don't always succeed is I literally want to deconvert people. I'm actively trying to change people's mind about this. And if you actually want to change people's mind, the reality is you can't antagonize and insult them. You actually have to have a conversation. You have to let them say what they want to say. And that's just how it is, man. Like, even if you destroy somebody on points, they're not going to absorb it if you was insulting them the whole time, because they're going to discard anything you said over their ego because you've insulted them. You know what I mean? Like, to win these types of things for real, you have to intellectually almost like handhold them there, like a child being taught in school. Like, you can't teach a child by saying, hey, you fucking idiot, don't you understand 2 + 2 is 4? Like, it's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? You have to be like, no, think about it for a second. 2, then you add these 2. That's how you teach people if you actually want them to change their mind. So that's what I try to do, even though I'm a human myself. They do get under my skin sometimes. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But it just, I really wish I was intelligent enough to totally control myself and just be the perfect person and debater that I want to be. But man, how many times can you say something without like, oh my God. All right. I'm calm again. I'm straight. I'm cool, y'all. Goose Frauba. Goose Frauba. Anyway, we'll take that as a win anyway, since he at least admitted God's laws were horrible, even though he said they were good beforehand. That's what they never understand. That's where you have to like try to coax them into logic. Like, intelligence will always try to not dominate the conversation, but like control it, keep it calm. You know what I mean? Like, intelligent de-escalates. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what we should try to achieve. Oh my goodness. All right, well, let's try again. Let's get, oops, something shifted on me there. All right. I'm trying to bring up the next person now, so give me just a second. Make sure I ain't lagging and shit. But yeah, it's hard to listen to someone who's saying the same nonsense over and over without getting frustrated. But I mean, that's just, like I said, we're gonna have to hear them out and have to let them talk sometimes. And I mean, if a fool's gonna come up here, a fool will always make a fool of themselves. You don't have to call somebody a fool. Just let them talk. They'll show you that. Then you have to like coax them into logic with questions and stuff. And if that don't work, then you have to give them some kind of consequence, man. Like, I don't know, man. Anyway, let's try the next one. Oh, this one here. Red.
Hello there. That's
Hey,
right.
what's up, buddy? Are you over 18?
I sure am.
Oh, red hat. Okay, I see there. Are
That's
you one
right.
of the Christians?
Am I one of the what?
One of the Christians?
Yes, I'm one of the Christians. That's right. That's right.
Cool. So, which one of these topics you want to talk about with us today? Or did you hear something you already wanted to chime in on or something?
Oh no, by all means, you can lead this argument. That's all right.
Well, I mean, you can pick one of the top. Which one of these topics do you feel the strongest about? Like, if one of these got proven wrong to you, which one's the most likely to make you realize something's wrong with the religion here?
Well,
If they're wrong.
let's start with the first one, right? Is that all right?
Yeah, the Bible being debunked.
Yeah. So what do you've got on that?
Well, it's been debunked in a lot of ways. It's wrong historically. It's wrong scientifically. It gets its own theology wrong. It contradicts itself. Jesus doesn't fulfill any of the prophecies. The prophecies themselves fail. It's just bad all the way through, really.
So let's start with one specific example, yeah? Since you've got so
Yeah.
many.
Perfect. So have you read the New Covenant from Jeremiah?
That's right.
You've read the New Covenant from Jeremiah?
So when you say the New Covenant, are you talking about the New Testament?
No, I'm talking about the New Covenant from Jeremiah.
Well, I've read the whole
You don't
book,
know what I'm
but
talking
I
about?
don't remember every specific part of it.
Well, this is a little confusing. This is the same covenant from like Jeremiah, Isaiah, Ezekiel. They're all talking about the same thing. It's when the exiles leave Babylon.
Okay, so what would you like to cover there?
Well, the prophecies, what it says is going to happen and what clearly doesn't happen. They clearly fail and the covenant is broken. And if they're broken according to the covenant, they can never be a nation before God ever again.
So once again, right, you're giving me a lot of broad conversation, but you have a specific one that failed, yeah? We can cover that one at a time.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. I'm asking you if you know what I'm talking about. Or, I mean, I can read it, but I'm just asking if you already know what I'm talking about.
More or less, right? But I guess I'm trying to clarify. So you're saying that things are being broken. Can you give me an example of which prophecy specifically
Yes.
was broken? Okay, that's what I'd
Well,
like to hear.
that's what I'm saying. The new covenant that's made is broken. That's my whole
Which
point here.
part of it,
This
right?
is
Like,
the
give me a
main.
specific example, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah. So the
understand.
new covenant is formed when the exiles leave Babylon. This is all explicit in Jeremiah, Isaiah, is it like all these, right? So in chapter 31 through 33, it gives three things that are going to happen once the exiles return to Zion and Jerusalem is rebuilt. So it says in chapter 33 that the throne of David will never lack a man to sit on that throne. It says the Levitic priests are going to make sacrifices for all time. And it says when Jerusalem is rebuilt, it's going to be enlarged and it will never again be uprooted or overthrown. And in fact, none of those things are happening today. So the covenant is
So
broken.
can you give me the verse specifically so I can read it, please?
Yeah, Jeremiah 31, the Jerusalem part is in verse 40, 38 through 40.
So would
And I'll
you
just
say
read it
that
just really quick.
Jerusalem is under Jewish control once again now, as of 1948? Would you say that that's not a broken promise or prophecy?
Is it Jews controlling it?
Well, where is Jerusalem located right now, sir?
It's in Israel.
Okay, and which government controls that area at this time, sir?
Oh, okay. Well, when this new covenant is formed, is it when Cyrus frees the exiles from Babylon 2,500 years prior to
So
that?
now it's no longer a failed covenant, it's just a time sensitive thing for you,
No,
right?
it failed a
would
long
you
time
agree
ago.
that
You're pointing to the
sir,
most latest
sir,
point in time.
sir,
Yeah.
sir, who is in control of Jerusalem right now? It's the Jews,
Do
right?
you want to read the
Like,
prophecy?
let's be real
Look, I'm
here.
telling you, you
Sir,
should
we can
read this
read that, right?
prophecy before you start trying to make this argument because I already know where you're going and it's not going to work.
No,
for
no,
you.
no, no, no.
You should really read it
you're
first.
talking about human sacrifice. You're talking about sacrifices, right? That they will continue to have sacrifices
No,
forever, right?
Levitic sacrifices. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So would you argue that when Jesus died on the cross, that was the ultimate sacrifice that lasts forever?
No. No.
No. Okay. So then it's a matter of your opinion, right? But I'll say I just
No,
don't
it's a
see the
matter of what the
contradiction
book
there,
says.
right?
I really wish you would read it,
Well,
and then we could have
I
this
have read
argument a
it.
whole lot better when you actually know what it says.
I have read it though, right?
Yeah, but I know, but you said you don't remember.
So let's go one at a time. So let's go. Well,
Perfect.
I'm right. You reminded me a little bit, right? So let's go through. Let's say
Yeah.
verses 31 through 34. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. So which one of those was not fulfilled by Jesus? From 31 to 34.
Zero. None of that was fulfilled by Jesus. This happens when the exiles leave Babylon, and this was 500 years before Jesus.
So you're saying that from verses 31 through 34, not a single thing was fulfilled by Jesus, right?
I know it wasn't, because this is talking about a specific thing. This has nothing to
Okay.
do with Jesus at all. Jesus has no place
So
anywhere in this book.
So let's talk
Book
about
of
it, right?
Jeremiah.
So 31, right?
Yeah.
I will make a new covenant. Did Jesus make a new covenant?
No.
So, sir, have
Well,
you read
I don't
the New
understand why you
Testament?
keep talking about Jesus. This isn't about Jesus. It's about the prophecy that is given about Jerusalem.
It's all
and
about Jesus.
The throne of David. No,
Everything
it's
is
not.
about Jesus. Of course it is,
No,
sir.
it's not.
So I'm just asking a question. In Jeremiah 31,
What does Jesus
it
have to do
specifically
with the
states,
exiles leaving
sir,
Babylon?
Sir,
What does
may
what
you
does
just
Jesus have to do with the exiles leaving Babylon?
Well, Jesus is God, sir, right? So he was around from the beginning, right? We're familiar with that. So let's continue for a minute. You said that no prophecy was fulfilled. In Jeremiah 31 says, I will make a new covenant. Who made a new covenant, sir? And then it says, not like the covenant I made with their fathers. So did Jesus make a new covenant in the Old Testament? You're a former Christian. This is easy for you.
No.
So,
Jesus
sir,
is not God.
So you're not arguing in good faith
No,
now. I didn't ask
you're
you if he was
trying to
God.
argue with
I
me
just
from
asked you,
your own
sir.
point of view, sir. Listen, I hope
No,
you
I'm
realize
not,
that
sir.
you're
I'm
trying to
using
argue
scripture.
with me from your own point of view. I don't think Jesus is
Sir,
God.
I'm really
I don't
not.
think Jesus has
I
any
didn't- I'm not
business in
arguing that with you,
Jeremiah,
sir.
so you can't argue with me like he does when I don't think.
Sir,
if you think Jesus
you said you
is
weren't getting
existent in
upset,
this
right? But
text,
you're kind of getting
then you
upset
can
now.
show me why. I'm just talking. I'm not upset. You're gonna
Okay, so
have
then
to
let me-
show
I'm
me
just-
where
sir.
Jesus is involved in this besides just being God.
So before Abraham, I am. Right? That's what Jesus said. Are you familiar with Abraham's time?
Did you hear what I just said?
So every time I'm arguing with you, I'm using scripture. I'm not giving you my opinion, right? You're getting upset
Yeah,
because
it's
you're not
your
prepared for
opinion.
this
Scripture
conversation.
doesn't
quite
say
frank-
Jesus
It's
is
not my
God,
opinion.
so you're already
Hang on,
off
sir.
track.
Sir, does he say before
we
Abraham
need to
I am?
address
Yes or no?
Jeremiah.
Sir, that's fine, and I'm getting there, but you're not having a good faith argument.
Well,
did
please
he say
get
he was
there.
before Abraham? Sir, did he say he was before Abraham? Yes or no?
No, John.
In
An
Scripture.
anonymous author says he says that in John.
Oh, so you see, so this you're not really. So I heard what you said earlier, where you want to try to convince people, right, and hold their hand, but you're not doing that here, right? Like I'm using scripture against you, and your
No,
response is, well, some
because
random person wrote it.
You're
So
not
then by that
addressing
response-
anything I've actually
Of course
said.
I am.
You're just talking out of your head
so
right now about
I've proven
Jesus
to
being
you
God.
that Jerusalem.
I did not bring Jesus
I
up.
just-
I'm talking about the prophecy from
Sir.
Jeremiah. Could you please?
which is
please
all
track
about
the
Jesus,
conversation?
sir. It's
It's
all
not
about Jesus. I just
okay,
proved it
show
to
us
you.
where it has. Okay,
Sir.
show us. Show us.
Okay,
Show us.
so who created a new covenant, sir? Who created a new covenant?
Jeremiah. God and Jeremiah.
As it says in Jeremiah, I will write my laws on their heart. Who did that? I will forgive their iniquity and remember their sins no more. Who did that? Who was the
God.
only person in the Bible to forgive a sin? On the cross.
God.
Telling the
God.
criminal next to him,
God was
you
never
will be
on a
with me
cross.
tonight in paradise. Okay, so let
Are
me
you
ask you a
trying to
question.
listen?
What did
wait,
he tell
are
the
you
criminal?
arguing with me about
Sir.
this prophecy or about whether Jesus is God or not? Which argument are we
Absolutely
having?
arguing with you. Sir, I'm using the prophecy, every single word in the prophecy, and I'm pointing it back to Jesus. You don't understand that, or you don't like that.
What's this prophecy about?
So I just explained it to you, right? Do you not?
No,
do you
you
not
didn't.
understand that? I did.
No, you
Absolutely.
didn't. What is the context of this prophecy? What is Jeremiah? What's happening in Jeremiah chapter 31?
So this is actually one of the most important prophecies, I would say, right? It's talking
You're
about
right.
a foreshadowing for the new covenant. Okay, if you
And
read
what
it
is the
right,
new
it says,
covenant
"Behold, the
according to
days are
Jeremiah
coming."
31? What's happening?
Hang
I've
on,
read it. I
sir.
know what
Hang
it
on, sir.
says.
Okay, so then
Tell
you
us the
understand that there
context of
is.
Jeremiah 31. What is happening in this chapter since you're an expert now?
I just explained it to you, right?
You're
I
not.
have just
No, you
you
didn't.
went. So you just gave me
All you
specific
did was read
prophecies,
some and say
and
that's
I've
me
showed
explaining
you
it to you. Tell me what the context of Jeremiah 31 is. Don't start reading it to me.
the
Tell
new
me what
covenant,
is
sir. The
happening
new
in
covenant,
this chapter.
the new
And what
covenant,
is the
right?
new
That
covenant
was
about?
given
What happens? When
by
is it formed?
Jesus.
Oh my fucking
It's
god.
formed, sir. You're not having a good faith
Sir.
argument, right? I
Sir.
just walked you into
You're
understanding that
not addressing
Jerusalem
anything I'm
is
fucking
controlled by
saying.
Jewish
Dude,
people at
snap
this
out
time,
of
right?
your indoctrination for 2 seconds and address what I'm
Sir.
actually asking you. What is the context of Jeremiah 31? What is happening in this chapter? Why is this covenant being formed in the first place? Tell us, please.
I just explained it to you, sir. I just explained it to
Well,
you.
do it again. Do it again.
You said you were being not an upset person, but you're very, very angry.
Are you going to
right
explain
now,
it?
right?
If you're not going to explain it, I'm going to drop you and move on to somebody more
Sir,
capable
if you'd
of an
like to
actual
drop me,
conversation.
that's all right. I understand you're not ready to have this
Are you
conversation.
going to
It's
explain
okay.
it? Are you going to explain it?
I just did, sir. It was a foreshadowing for what was happening
you didn't
before.
explain shit. Nope. Well, yep, okay. Well, you answered the question then. That means I will not explain it. I will repeat the same dumb shit I just said 18 times in a row that don't actually address anything I actually said. Good job, buddy. You deserve Christianity, so stay over there until you're actually ready to use some actual conversational skills. That would be great. All right. Well, moving on. If there is another one, holy crap. Jesus. It's about Jesus. I can't show you why it's about Jesus. It's about Jesus because John says it's about Jesus, even in Jeremiah. But I can't show you in Jeremiah what's about Jesus. Why go to John? Oh, man. These are some wild... Some people you just cannot crack no matter what you say, man. That's crazy. Anyway. Let's try the next one. Got 4 or 5 in the queue still, so... Thanks. Oh, Genesis, are you there? Genesis? I don't guess Genesis is here on purpose, even though they were in the queue for a long time. Genesis, if you meant to be here, just request back up, and I'll bring you back up. Using the queue for a long time, if that was an accident. Jesus. Do you not hear me explaining to you? It's Jesus. It's about Jesus. I'm explaining it. Jesus. I think that's the depth of the intelligence of probably most humans out there, including me. You just have to learn not to think like that. They literally only see what they want to see. Impulse and emotion guides every little thought process they have with no underlying rationalization of cause and effect at all. Sad. Let's see if Michelle's here.
Oh,
Michelle, you there?
yes.
Hey,
Well, first
you're
of
over
all,
18.
I'm fucking pissed.
Oh, well, are you over 18?
Let's see. Can I read you really quick? You have daddy issues.
Are you over 18?
Traumatized.
I don't know what's
You.
happening here, but it's clearly a crazy person. Why in the world could somebody come sit in the queue for an hour and wait to come up here and do that? Like, what the fuck? People crazy, yo. All right, well, Brett, are you there?
What's up, bro?
Hey, what's up, man? Are you over 18?
Yes, sir. 26.
Awesome. Are you one of the Christians?
I am.
Cool. So, which one of these topics did you want to talk with us about?
Well, I was really trying to touch on, especially on that topic you were just having with the other guy. So are you wanting in your debates, are you wanting scripture to be used in the debate itself, or are you wanting more
I would
of the-
like the scripture I'm actually bringing up to be addressed and not like you can't address a random covenant in Jeremiah 31 by going to John in the New Testament and saying, well, John says it's about this. Like, we can actually address Jeremiah. That would be great.
Sweet. Well, I got one here that is definitely.
Oh, you teacup, buddy. If you swiped out of the app, nobody can hear you. I don't know what happened. You'll have to come back, man. If you stay teacup too long, it's going to drop you automatically. Dang. Been on for an hour and 10 minutes. It feels like 2 hours so far. Oh, yep. Disconnecting him. Just come back up. If you got something to say there, left, buddy. Hey, Twisted Burden, you there?
Yes, sir. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's up, man? Are you over 18?
Yes, sir. I'm 32.
Are you one of the Christians?
I am not a true Christian because I still live in sin, but I do believe in God.
Can you? Well, I can't hear you very well. Can you get like closer to your microphone or something?
Yeah, is that better a little bit?
A little bit. Not great though, actually.
Yeah, there's a little background noise. I apologize. I'll tell you what. How long are you going to be on live, bro?
Oh, I'll be here at least another hour or two.
Okay, cool. I'm about to be at my destination real quick. I'm going to just drop me back down. I'll hang out and I'll get sent another request. 10, 15 minutes, I'll be solidly available.
Oh, yeah, that sounds good, man. Yeah, you can't drive in live anyway, so yeah, just come back when you get parked and we can hear you better and stuff. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Yes, sir. All right. Oh, shit. I thought somebody else was requesting up anyway. Man, ain't it so crazy, y'all? Ain't it so crazy to see the level of, well, we call it cognitive dissonance now, but the level people refuse to engage in once they like know that it's not going where they want it to go. Like, people will almost always persist in an illogical bad argument or a hollering match over just straight up being proven wrong. Like, because they consider that I guess, better than being proven wrong, I guess, and looking stupid. Like, people are so damn scared of looking stupid, it's crazy. But in fact, admitting you're wrong is not a sign of stupidity, it's a sign of intelligence, believe it or not. If you are proven wrong on something and you persist in the bullshit that made you wrong, it makes you look even more stupid, not smarter. People will respect you when you admit something is wrong and move on. That gains respect and intelligence, not stupidity and disrespect. And I mean, I know it don't seem like that, but it really is. I promise. It's great. And maybe, you know, addressing the actual topics here would be great. Pretty sure that's the Michelle I just dropped. I'll try it though. Michelle?
¿Qué pasó, güey? You brought me back again? Acá, no.
How old are you?
No, you know my story. You don't know my story, but you don't want to know me.
I don't know what's going on, but you're not coming back up. What's wrong with you? Can you not answer a simple question if you're over 18 or not? What the fuck? Red. It's the red hat guy. Why are you coming back up here, man? You didn't request back up on purpose, did you? Red hat person. He's back in the queue, but it might not have been on purpose, though. Kind of interested in the one guy. He actually sounded kind of rational there. Why? Why, Richie? There's no point in talking to somebody that's not going to have a conversation, man. Why would I do that? Polite. So, doesn't matter if you're polite if you can't have a conversation. Like, literally asking the same things over and over again. It's Jesus is Jesus. Like, that's not going to do it, man. Not going to do it. Not going to cut it. You have to address what I'm actually asking you. What's the context of Jeremiah? It's Jesus. Jesus is the one who forms the New Testament. Not because it was Jesus, like the dude in the flesh. It's Jesus that was God way before the flesh of Jesus became Jesus. It's great stuff, man. Great stuff. Oh, it's debunked in many ways. The prophecies failed, all kind of stuff. Nobody, you weren't ready for the conversation. That's why you would never answer what I was actually asking you. You just say repeating Jesus is not having a conversation. No, it did fail. I could actually show you that if we made it even in a sentence into an actual discussion, but you refused to address with that. You're not coming back up here, lady. In fact, if you request up again, I'm just going to ban you from the channel because you are completely incoherent if you are being a real person. So, all right, well, let's ban her real quick. She insists on being banned, y'all. I got you. We can accommodate. Done. One less viewer right now. Anyway, if you are a Christian who is capable of an actual conversation, like just, two grown-ups talking to each other, like asking questions, you answer the question asked, it goes back and forth. If you're capable of that, I would love to talk to you. But I refuse to sit here and engage in an argument with stupidity that's just going Jesus, 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 Jesus. This was not a conversation about Jesus. This was a conversation about Jeremiah. Jeremiah does not mention Jesus nor hint at a character anything like Jesus. Not once. Oh, here we go, I think. Maybe. Oh, no, that's a different person. Hey, Zach, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's up, man? You're over 18?
100%. Yep.
Awesome. And you're one of the Christians?
Yeah.
Dang, you said that kind of slackingly.
Well, I've been watching and listening, and it's kind of it seems like a joke almost, but.
What do you mean, the religion or me or the channel?
I think all of it. You're a funny guy, and I've talked to you before, and at one point I did not like you, but the more I watch and I listen, I like you, man.
Hey,
and so I don't
actually
really
have that effect on people. It's crazy. That's awesome. Thank you. I love that.
I don't really have anything to debate. I just kind of want to say what's up, and man, keep it going. Like I think people need
what's up,
this
dog?
kind of stuff.
Thank you for that. Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. Hey, I do like. There's been. I can actually think of just off the top of my head 4 or 5 people who started off being like really hostile toward me, but the more they listen to me, the more sense I seem to have made to them, and now they're like fans of the show. It's crazy.
You can't fight what you can't see.
Yeah, true.
So what you gonna fight about?
I don't know.
Why not join? Why not join together?
Absolutely. The whole reason I do this channel is because Christianity is literally a religion of division. That's what it does, and it's what it always will do, and that's why I say it needs to freaking go, because it's division under the guise of unification. It's a whip under the guise of a cross. Like, it's not good, man. I'm telling you.
Well, and this country that we live in, it's based off of religion. And when you start looking at all these pedophiles and you start really digging deep into everybody that you trust, do you really trust them?
No. Yeah. No, I don't. That's another. Politics are just like religion to me, man. Even crazier in some ways, for real, because it's like people just refuse to look at cause and effect over impulse and emotion. Like they refuse to rationalize what's actually happening. They're just like they see something and they're like bad, them, you, those folks. But they don't
I
consider
felt
for
the
a
same
second
way.
what actually caused them things.
I thought about all that stuff the same way. And, like I told you a while ago, when I first started watching you, I did not like it. I didn't like what I was hearing. But then you start listening. You're a smart guy. You're very intelligent. There is not anybody that can tell me that you're not intelligent. Whether I want to believe it or not, I have no choice but to see facts that you are very intelligent. And you know what
you're
you're
gonna make my
doing.
head all big, dog. Shit.
Well, I mean, I ain't trying to do that. But,
Oh yeah.
you got to give a compliment where a compliment is due.
Oh, well, thank you, man. I really do appreciate that. That's cool to hear.
I wish I had facts. I wish I had the knowledge, to disprove you, but I don't. And I don't know if anybody on this earth, will ever find it.
True. Yeah. And I mean, that's really what I just want people to realize, that like if you can't justify some of these atrocities in this book or answer for in some shape or form that makes it realistic, then why not reconsider the position maybe? You know what I mean? Like understand that holding a position like that is dangerous to everybody around. You know what I mean? Like, and especially to a country.
Well, and
like
everybody
one
wants
person can
somebody
change
to
the course
believe
of
it.
history.
And everybody wants somebody to, like you said a while ago or earlier, you got to hold people's hand to an extent. Everybody wants somebody to hold their hand and guide them through this life that we live.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been done to me.
But
that's for sure.
Who knows what's real?
I don't. I'm just a silly old boy from Alabama, man. Who
Arkansas.
coincidentally has at least a little bit of experience in the English language, and I know how words work. And when words say that until heaven and earth pass away, not one stroke is going to change from the law, I can only assume that if heaven and earth are still here, then the law is still around with it.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, it's just exactly.
You can't deny that.
But yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's simple. Yeah. But anyway, man, I appreciate the shit out of you coming up and saying that. I really do.
I had to do it, man. I sit and watch and I listen, and like I said, I hated you at first, but I love you, man.
Hey, much love, buddy. Love you too. I really do appreciate the shit out of that. I'll drop you back here, man. But man, I appreciate the shit out of that. Zach Brown, fluffing the ape's head today. In a somewhat dark moment of the show, so that's kind of nice. I told y'all, crazy things happen here at the Apostate Ape channel. Like the haters become lovers, the unreasonable become reasonable. It's crazy. Sometimes you just got to really chip away at somebody and have some patience with them, I think. And, understanding, even if you don't agree with someone, just understanding their position can so often be beneficial. Just understanding where they're coming from. Just like, even if you don't agree with them, just knowing that they have somewhat of a good reason to think what they think can really, really help in understanding other humans, because it's really hard to do sometimes. Everybody's got their own minds, and we all got fallible human minds when it comes right down to it, man. We're all subject to the whims of this irrational force that is nature, the human mind, you know what I mean? Oh, here's Genesis back, so let's try Genesis here, I think.
Oh,
Genesis, are you there?
can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, what's up? Are you over 18?
Yeah, I'm 20. You debated with me on Monday, I think.
Oh, did I? That's cool.
Yeah, I
You
did.
got something else you want to talk about today, or you coming to tell us I deconverted you?
Oh gosh. Um, no, you didn't deconvert me, but I did want to
Oh,
like speak. I did want to speak again because I wasn't necessarily prepared. Plus, I was like getting ready for work simultaneously as debating you, which that probably isn't the smartest idea because I was getting continuously distracted. But um,
That's all right. Well, cool, cool.
yeah, but
Well, what you got today then?
well, I was watching for a while and someone debated you speaking about when Jesus speaks about what are the commandments that we actually have to keep. And
Oh yeah,
you asked, okay, when does it say you only have to keep the moral laws? And he couldn't name a verse, which is like, okay. But Matthew 19:16 to 17. Can we go there real quick? And
we can.
I encourage everyone in the live to go there as well because you don't want to just take our word for it. Don't take mine and don't take the host either. Like,
Yeah, this is the. Dang, my computer's running slow. Is that the? Is that the? It's not the divorce thing. It's the rich. Okay, yeah, rich young ruler.
yeah.
All
So,
right. So which verses you want me to read?
yeah, where the rich young ruler asks, the question, and is it okay if I read it or do you? It doesn't really
Yeah, you
matter.
can read it.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually love this verse because this is one I used to disprove Jesus being God too.
So we have verse 19. I mean, yeah, chapter 19, verses 16 through 17. And behold, a man came up to him, saying, Teacher, what good deed must I do to have eternal life? And he said to them, Why do you ask me about what is good? There is only one who is good. If you would enter life, keep the commandments. And then he said to him, Which ones? Referring to which commandments should I keep? And Jesus said, You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness, honor your father and mother, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. And the young man said to him,
Right.
All these I have kept, why do I still lack? Okay, yeah. But so specifically I read 19:16 to 17. So there, Jesus is specifically saying which ones to keep in order to inherit the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
That's it. So he's not saying, you know, stone people, all of that stuff. That is fulfilled.
Really.
That is fulfilled, right?
Well, you're right, and you bring up a really good point here. Jesus does tell him to keep specifically the last 5 of the first 10 commandments when he's talking to the rich young ruler here. So here's the issue that I have with that.
Okay.
It says, Teacher, what must I do to have eternal life? And he said to him, Why do you ask me about what is good? There's only one who is good. If you wish to enter life, keep the commandments. That was it. That was his answer. Keep the commandments. And the guy said to him, Well, which ones? And Jesus is like,
Yes.
Well, don't murder, don't steal.
Yes.
He didn't say you only have to keep these 5. He's just naming 5 that you have to keep because there's over 600 commandments, and it doesn't make much sense that he would name them all.
Okay, but
in a casual conversation. But the guy straight up asked him point blank, How do I gain eternal life? And Jesus' answer is very simple. You know the commandments.
Of course, but the passage doesn't end there, right? So if the rich ruler asks, which one should I keep? Why didn't Jesus say, okay, all 613? Why didn't he just say that if he's referring to all?
He does say that.
Where? He says,
right there in verse 17. If you stop at verse 17, you don't even get to those other parts you read, but you still get an answer. So if you read 17, it says, if you wish to enter life, keep the commandments. That was it. If the guy would have just walked away right then, he would have still had an answer, wouldn't he?
Yes, but he continues to ask which ones because he needed clarification, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So after that, what does Jesus say? He lists the commandments that he's actually referring to, right? We can use context clues and we can understand. Yeah.
Well, he listed 5 of them, and if you asked him in another passage, he doesn't list any of those. He says the 2 greatest commands are love the Lord your God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. That's not any of these.
He does.
So it depends on where you're asking Jesus which laws it is. But he never says only keep moral laws. There's no distinguishment in the Bible anywhere about what only moral laws are.
Right. But
those are just classifications that Christians put on the law. Those aren't actually in the law.
So either way, though, does it mention any of the things that happen in the Old Testament?
It does in different Gospels, yeah.
When Jesus says, these are the commandments that you should keep to inherit eternal life, meaning to get to heaven, correct? he tells you the exact ones, right? So again, using context.
In this passage, yeah. He says other ones in other gospels and other ones besides that in other places besides that. So he is not. There's plenty of places where Jesus names plenty of other laws besides these ones. In fact, in Matthew chapter 15 and Mark chapter 7, he chastises the Pharisees for not stoning their disobedient children to unalivement for being disobedient to their parents or dishonoring their mother and their father.
Focus on the
So
verse.
there's other laws at hand here. That's for dang sure.
He says these are the ones to inherit eternal life, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So
He's
those are
naming
the
some. He doesn't say these are the only ones. He doesn't say just keep these ones and you'll get to heaven. He just names those as the ones that the young ruler is asking
Yes,
him
he
about. But his
named
answer was
those.
simple: keep the commandments.
Yes. So why, after he asked which ones, didn't he say all of them, and he lists all of 613?
He says
And
that a lot of times. He
here's the
says that on the
question.
Sermon on the Mount. He says it in John. He says it in Matthew.
Here's the question that I have to ask you. The laws, I'm gonna put the quotations, the quote unquote laws that you say are listed in the Old Testament. The things that you are reading that, would be considered as suffering, which 100% it is, which are considered as horrible things, are those
They are horrible.
100%? They are. And I don't like those things. So, first of all, I do want to say that Christian.
But you love the God who commanded those things.
Do you love your mother who has, put discipline on you when you were a child? Discipline does not mean,
Yeah, but disciplining me is not setting me on fire.
100%. And we can see that Jesus completely welcomed prostitutes. He welcomed troubled women, and he would say, "Go and sin no more." So he, with kindness.
Yeah, that's because Jesus actually broke the law.
With
kindness. If you wanted to get into that part of a discussion.
In the word, with kindness I have drawn thee. So he does not draw people in or convert people through hate. He converts them in through love and kindness and through acceptance, right? So another thing that I'm going to say is making sure that you differentiate people with God, making sure that you differentiate people's will with God's will, because I think that's the biggest issue you have. You may have been, and I'm not going to try to read your life because I don't know you like that, but people, Christian people, may have hurt you. Okay, but that does not mean that God hurt you. You may have had church hurt. I completely agree. Trust and believe. I have dabbled in atheism in the past. I have also dabbled in New Age and witchcraft and things of that nature.
Yeah. Well, according to God, you should have been put to death for that.
Yes, and so that's what I'm gonna get to. So the person, I don't remember who it was who just debated with you. I think it was the red hat Latino who was
was that a debate?
I think it was. I think it was a pretty good debate. Like it says many times that
I don't think we got anywhere at all. I'll talk to the first guy way longer than that.
Does a long debate equal a successful one? I don't think so.
Well, it equals an actual debate. Like if he's just screaming Jesus the whole time, we're not actually debating anything. That's just him hollering Jesus.
He wasn't hollering Jesus. I was hearing what he was saying.
Yes, he was. Literally everything I asked him, he said it was Jesus. And then when I asked him to explain it why, he just said it was Jesus.
I think he's trying to say, I'm not going to keep talking about him, but I think he was trying to say that, the whole purpose of the Bible.
No, I don't deport people without due process, buddy. You were tried and found
oh gosh,
very wanting.
Okay.
You didn't try to explain. Like, I know you think you did, but you didn't. But anyway, Genesis. Yeah, so John, chapter 14, verse 15. If you love me, you will keep my commandments.
Yes.
Which ones?
It says that in the verse that I, gave you.
Well, that's a totally different gospel.
Still asking the same question.
Does it say, when he read those off, does it say these are the only ones you have to keep?
Context clues. You have to use like basic.
Right. Context, yeah. Context clues. So if you go with everything Jesus says, every time he says something, he says, keep my commands, keep all my commands. He does say individual laws sometimes, but he never says, you only have to keep some of these laws. Right, so he says, if you love me, you will keep all my commands, and until heaven and earth pass away, not one dot or letter will pass from the law. That means all the law.
Yes, okay, so that was what I was going to speak about. Also, like I said, we have to address the fact that he did list specific ones after he was asked in the verse that I provided. I know that you
I
have
know that's what I
hold on,
just said. I
hold on.
just said he names
Yes,
individual laws
yes,
sometimes,
yes,
but he never
sometimes he
says
does.
these are the only ones you have to keep.
Yes,
Not
sometimes he
once.
does, and sometimes he just says, keep my commands. However, we
Right.
can't deny the fact that he does list specific ones after he was asked, and he did 100% have the choice to just
I'm
say,
not denying it.
obey all of them.
I'm
Okay,
not denying it.
perfect. Okay,
I'm
so then
denying that he meant those are the only ones you have to keep. And you
what?
can't get there unless you go to that one single verse, and you can't get there unless you add in you only have to keep these laws, which isn't in there.
Yes, I never said that that was in there, but he specifically asked which laws,
I know.
and he answers.
And he says he specifically asked how you gain eternal life. And he specifically answered, you know the commandments, keep them.
Where does it say that?
In Matthew, not we just read it.
Does he say you know the commandments, keep them, or does he list the specific ones when he had this?
He says, you know, that's what I'm saying. And you told me to read verse 16 and 17. It says, and he said to him, why do you ask me about what is good? There is one who is good. If you wish to enter life, keep the commandments.
But you have to
That's
keep
it. That was his
reading.
answer. Yeah.
You have to keep
Yeah,
reading.
I know. And when you read on, the guy said to him, which ones? And Jesus says, you shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness, honor mother and
What he
father.
was talking about. Okay, so that's what he was
Yeah,
talking
in the
about.
case of this guy here, but he already answered the question. He said, you know the commandments, keep them.
Okay, also, okay, the verse that you named was in where? John, right?
Yeah, John 14.
Okay, so
Or wait,
you,
if that's the one you're talking about.
yeah, the one that you said where he, sometimes names and sometimes doesn't. So
Yeah.
you know the Gospels, right? With the
Mm-hmm.
Matthew, Mark, John, Luke, right? So these are all accounts of Jesus from different perspectives, right? Different accounts, right?
Yep. Yeah,
So
well, from anonymous people who never even met the guy.
so
So nobody knows who wrote them.
when you understand that
Nobody
you
knows if he
have
actually even said this stuff.
when you understand that you have multiple perspectives, right? So you see that they will repeat a lot of things, but there are different perspectives. Honestly, as somebody who is studying, like who wants to study the Bible historically, when you are studying anything, you want it to be different perspectives. I wouldn't be impressed if it was all the same thing, right? Because it would just be them copying each other.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like,
Well, here's where I sort of agree with you. If it would have had a whole bunch of different perspectives that actually lined up with each other, that would have strengthened the case that much more. But in fact, since you have a whole bunch of books, they in fact contradict each other. So when one says this happened and that one says that happened, either only one of them was right or they were both wrong. So it's created a whole bunch of problems for the book that it added in a whole bunch of stuff.
okay,
That's why the Quran actually corrected that problem for Islam. They made it one big unified voice, where
okay,
in the
but
Bible you have a whole bunch that's contradicting each other,
okay, but even the
including
Quran.
God and Jesus and Paul, and they all contradict each other.
So, can you give me a contradiction specifically in the Gospels where John, Luke, Mark, or Matthew are contradicting each other rather than just having different perspectives?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. Damn, let me think of a really, really good one.
Okay.
Oh, how about Jesus' last words?
Okay, perfect.
Pretty much every gospel says Jesus' last words were something different. Like in Mark, he's before he dies, he says, Father, Father, why have you forsaken me?
Okay.
And John, he says, it's finished. And Luke, he says, Father, I commit to you my spirit. So which one was actually right?
That is a good example, but you have to understand that these are different people who accounted this. So,
I know, and if
right,
they all say Jesus' last words were something different, they weren't all right, were they?
100%. So let's say you and I, right? We both,
100% right or wrong?
let's say you and I saw the same crime happen, right? Okay, so we saw someone get, killed. Let's say, okay, I don't know if I can say that, but someone get murdered. Okay, so we saw a horrible thing that happened, you and I, right? So maybe they said a few things before they died, right? Maybe I walked away before they said that very last thing. Maybe they said multiple things and I only heard one thing. Maybe you have to understand that these are real life events. So we have to take it away from, oh, these are characters, these are real life events, and you can't take away the fact that these are still humans. So I zoned
Yeah,
out
but you
trying to
can't take away the fact that someone's last word can't be a whole bunch of different things that don't make sense to each other.
do you know Jesus said multiple things on that cross? So maybe someone heard something that they may have thought was the last word
And
before.
Mark, it was literally the only thing he said the entire time he was on the cross was, Father, Father, why have you forsaken me? That's literally the only thing he said. After Jesus is taken prisoner, he only says 2 sentences for the entire rest of the story.
And
At
what
his
are
trial, Pilate asked him, if you're the king of the Jews, and he says, so saith you. And then on the cross, he says, Father, Father. That's literally the only 2 sentences he says until he dies after he's taken prisoner.
100%.
So he don't say a lot of stuff on the cross,
So do you believe
according to Mark.
Do you believe to one person Jesus may have said the last word before they left, or do you believe that, like, again, these are humans, right? These are humans.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if Jesus said multiple things, someone may have thought that that was his last word until Jesus continued to speak. Someone may
Well,
have
if
thought
it
that.
wasn't, then we have no reason to think it was.
What do you mean?
I mean, these are anonymous people who weren't there, all reporting Jesus said something different when he died. They can't all be right.
100%. They can't all be right, but I am saying
Right. So which one is right, and how did you get to that?
it's called perspective. They have different perspectives. Like I said, I would want that if I'm studying.
I know. I'm asking you which perspective is the right perspective. Which one got his last words correct?
How would I know? I wasn't there, but I am saying.
Exactly. You wouldn't know. We can't know. It's just like it's
Thank you.
4 different people saying 4 different things doesn't give you an answer. It just gives you confusion. You either have to pick one or say none of them's right. That's the problem with having multiple gospels here. And there's only 3 that are synoptic. So 3 of them are going to line up somewhat decent with each other, right? But Paul says Jesus was executed at this time. The synoptic gospels say it was a different time, that it couldn't have been in the first time. The birth narratives are completely different from Matthew and Luke. So, I mean, there's all kind of problems between each one of these gospels. Like I was saying, if they all had a unified voice, that would be great. It would strengthen their case, but they don't, and it made it worse.
3 out of what, 4 lined up with each other?
No, mostly lines up with each other because Matthew and Luke copied 90% from Mark. So they're going to be pretty close to Mark in that aspect. But everything, literally everything that they added on their own outside of Mark that they didn't copy is completely different from each other. That's the problem.
Do you not believe that that's different perspectives? You believe that that's contradiction, or do you believe that?
I know it's different perspectives. That's what I've been saying this whole time.
Okay.
The problem is you can't figure out which one is true based on 2 people saying different things.
Yeah,
like
that's normal.
If we both saw a wreck and I said it was a blue truck and you said it was a red truck, then maybe we don't know. We're not going to know what color it was for sure, but we can be pretty sure it was probably a truck, right?
Okay. So just
now, if I say that it was a green truck that hit someone in a car wreck and you say there was no truck, it was a little kid on a bicycle that didn't hit anybody, then we have a big contradictory problem here. And that's the way the gospels are going against each other. They're saying this happened and this happened, but they can't both simultaneously be true. They're discrediting each other.
In terms of the main situations that happen, they line up. You're narrowing it down to contradiction because of the word that they heard, words that they heard, things that they have seen.
Yeah, they weren't even there. These aren't even witness accounts. They're very, very later, way later on, decades later, hundreds of people later accounts. Like there is no reason at all to trust these.
You're saying that the words that they heard were contradictions of each other. And that is one of those things where it is different perspectives versus a clear cut, this happened, which they
I'm aware it's different perspectives. I'm giving you that. I'm saying they have to line up with each other though to be credible, and they don't. They're not even close. Literally the only thing that all the gospels agree on is that Jesus was a dude who preached and was crucified and rose again on the 3rd day. That's literally the only thing that they all agree on.
100%, and that is the main situation. So when you narrow it down,
sure, but it's almost nothing, and it means nothing if they're not even giving you the same reasons why the guy died. Like it's a big mess, is what it is.
So just like how, like you said, if you and I saw a wreck and we said two different things, like people have different perspectives of what happened. That is all I'm saying, and you agreed with that, right? So we can get off of that. You agreed
Yeah,
with
I've been
that.
agreeing with that. But I'm saying if we don't agree in our perspectives, then we can't both be right. One of us is wrong.
I was
And
going
if we can't
to.
figure out which one is right, then there's no point in believing either one of us.
So where were we talking about the red hat Latino when he was debating you about Jesus fulfilling the law? So we're gonna get on that now because there are a few things that you kind of agree with me on, and we can agree to disagree about the perspectives of the Gospels. I do encourage
Sure.
everyone in the live to go and study for yourselves because I understand
Yeah,
that
me too. Reading the Bible
a
makes
lot
more
of
people
you,
atheists than anything.
a lot of you, you know, follow this person who is already an atheist. So a lot of you are already atheists. It's very simple to say that you guys support him, and I understand that. Like he's very funny. I think you're very funny. I think you're very cool. Um,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, you're a cool
I am
person.
very funny.
So yeah, so 100%. But we're gonna speak on, you know, Jesus fulfilling the law. What he means by when he says fulfilling the law, right?
Sure. He tells you verbatim, quite plainly, when the law will be fulfilled. And he says, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished. So all isn't accomplished until heaven and earth pass away, which he thought was going to happen apparently in 70 AD.
Okay, so can you tell me what verse that is real quick so I can make sure I'm putting it in my Bible?
Yeah, it's Matthew 5. Matthew 5, 17 through 20.
Okay.
Not to mention, before I ever read this book as an atheist, I read it for over 2 decades as a Christian. So.
Yeah, I was going to talk to you about that, but I don't think I even have much time to get into that whole thing. But um, yes, so do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. For truly I say to you, until heaven and earth pass away, not an iota or not a dot will pass from the law until all is accomplished. Therefore, whoever relaxes one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven, but whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so that is the verse for who's watching. Um, so yeah, so even I'm reading the ESV.
So did Jesus say only keep moral laws there, or only keep civil laws, or did he say not one dot is going to change from any of the law until heaven and earth pass away?
Here's the thing. So Christ came to fulfill the law. So we have to take
Does
that out.
fulfill mean abolish?
Fulfill does not mean abolish.
Absolutely, it does not. So the law was
100%.
not abolished. The law stands.
Fulfill, meaning bring to completion, right?
Nope. Fulfill means to follow, or do, or hold, or keep.
Do you agree that fulfill has multiple definitions and we have to use context clues to understand what he's speaking about? Or
I
do
am
you
using the context to say this means that the law was completed or went away. You would have to also restructure the sentence. In verse 17, you would have to say, do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish, but to abolish. That makes no sense.
Oh no, I'm not saying abolish. I'm not saying
I
that
know, but
fulfill
you're
means
saying
abolish.
fulfill means the same thing as abolished in that the law went away, right?
No, I said fulfill means bring to completion. So complete.
That means it stopped, right?
No, completion, meaning it is complete. That does not mean it
Does it mean done? Does it mean out of the equation? You
no.
don't have to keep the law anymore?
I'm actually agreeing with what you're saying, that fulfill does not mean
Okay, I'm
abolish.
just trying to be super clear here
Okay,
because this is the road that I actually want people to go down.
yes. So now
Okay,
I
perfect.
want to talk about how Jesus completed the law because it means that he completed it, meaning bringing it to its intended goal. So he fulfills it as in, okay, the sacrifices no longer have to do sacrifices, right? Because that points to Jesus' death. That was the ultimate sacrifice. So then we have priests, it pointed to Jesus being the high priest. So you no longer need those things. Passover lamb pointed to Jesus as the sacrificial lamb of God, meaning all of these things are fulfilled by Jesus on the cross. The intent of them are fulfilled by Jesus on the cross. Remember, intent.
So when Jesus fulfilled it and it was completed, that doesn't mean it went away, right?
Completion.
Do you think the law stands or not? Do you have to keep the law or not?
Means that he completed the laws that he told us to keep, meaning moral laws that were listed in the verse that I came up with.
Now we're back on moral laws again.
Oh yeah, because I'm not gonna bash the person who was on before, but they didn't really explain it correctly. But
well, you just stepped in it too, and you just made your own case way, way worse. So just answer straight up. Do you have to keep the law to get to heaven or not? Is the law gone?
The commandments, the 10 Commandments.
The 10 Commandments are gone?
The 10 Commandments need to be kept. They are binding laws. There are laws that bind.
Oh, so it's the 10 Commandments. Okay, so where does Jesus say keep the 10 Commandments?
Matthew 19, verses 16 through 17.
He named 5 there. He named the last 5 of 10. He didn't name the first 5.
Those are the
So at best, you can only say you have to keep 5 of the 10 Commandments if you're going to base it on Matthew 19.
He lists the commandments that get you into heaven, right? And so if he wanted you to keep all 613 laws, which he knew humans aren't able to keep because we are too sinful, it even says in the word also that the laws were given to show how sinful humans are. And I think that's kind of the thing that you're missing, is the difference between...
Where are you getting the 10 Commandments from?
The human's will and God's will.
No, chapter and verse, Jesus says, keep the 10 Commandments, and these are the only ones you have to keep.
Well, you also listed a verse that says, okay, you know the commandments. These are the ones to keep, right?
Are you going to answer the question?
What question?
Where does Jesus say the 10 Commandments are the only ones you have to keep?
He lists 5 out of the 10 in Matthew 19, 16.
Okay, so that's 5 of them. Where does he say 10?
He lists 5 out of the 10 in 19, 16 through 17.
Okay, so he says keep these 5. So you only have to keep 5 commandments.
According to him in that verse, yes. So where does it say keep the 6?
So there you go. There's keep the 5 commandments and you're good. That'll get you to heaven. Based on Matthew 19, right?
Yes, based on Matthew 19. What does it say?
Okay, so it's not 10, it's 5. Do you want to correct your statement there and say not 10, it's 5?
Sure. But
okay, so you keep the 5 commandments. There's only 5 that matter.
That's specifically what it is. I didn't say that only 5 that matters, but
that's what?
I didn't say that it's only 5 that matter.
We're talking about Jesus saying them. You said Jesus says keep the 10 commandments. You have to keep the 10 commandments. So I asked you where he said that, and you said Matthew 19, where he only names 5. So then I said, do you want to correct yourself and say it's 5 out of 10? You said, yeah. Now we're back to the 10 again.
Yeah, I apologize if I said he said to keep the 10 commandments, but I was saying that.
All right, so now, what did Jesus mean on the Sermon on the Mount when he said, truly I tell you, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished? So what did he mean by not one dot or stroke of a letter? Did that mean all of the law or just 5 out of the 10 commandments?
He fulfills it through the death on the cross. It's as simple as that. He fulfills the intent of the sacrifice.
Where does it say the law is completed upon Jesus' death?
The Passover lamb.
Where does it say that?
He's the ultimate sacrifice, isn't that?
Where does it say it?
Luke 24, verse 34.
No, I mean in Matthew.
Why are we only in Matthew? Luke is also another gospel, so there's another.
Why do you need to bounce around to answer questions? We were talking about the law in Matthew. Like I said, we was talking about Matthew.
Respectfully, is that not what you're doing because you have multiple verses pulled up on a computer screen and you're bouncing around them based on your point?
I'm not bouncing around. I'm trying to get you to address what Jesus means when he says not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished. And it says until heaven and earth pass away is when that will be accomplished, not when he dies.
Yes, because when heaven and earth pass away, that is when he will return.
So is the law completed when he returns or when he dies?
The law was completed, meaning fulfilled, meaning he did all of the work on the cross. Luke.
Okay, so
24,
he's wrong
24.
on the Sermon on the Mount when he says the law will be completed when heaven and earth pass away, right?
That's not what he's saying. This is not saying that it is
It says,
gone.
"For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished."
Yes, so he fulfilled it.
That doesn't say anything about I'm going to die and this will all be fulfilled when I'm dead.
Luke 24, verse 44. Can you go
Besides, the death isn't even the important part. It was the resurrection. That
Yeah.
was the point.
That's
And
true.
that happened 3 days after he died, right?
Yeah.
So don't you see the confusion that's coming in here?
Where is the confusion? Are you saying that because the whole completion thing is confusing you? As in when he says until heaven and earth passes
It's not
away?
confusing me. It's what it says. It says, "For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away." He's giving you a very explicit time frame of when the law will be completed, when heaven and earth pass away.
Yes, because there will no longer be any laws on earth.
That didn't happen when he died, though, did it?
I think we're speaking about two different things. And hear me out here. So you're speaking about when law will actually be done, where we don't have to,
Yeah,
fulfill
you
any
told
of
me
it.
that was when he died, and that means you only have to keep 5 out of 10 commandments,
No, we're
right?
speaking about two different things. You have to allow me to finish.
I don't think we are.
You're talking about when law,
I'm talking about when the law is completed. That's all I've been talking about this whole
when
time.
heaven and earth pass away. There will be laws on this earth until we die. Again, context clues, that's basic knowledge. There will be laws on this earth until heaven and earth pass away, until we die. But he is saying
Oh, and
that,
which laws are those?
but he is saying that he fulfills them with his death,
When?
meaning we do not have to fulfill them.
It doesn't say when I die. It says when heaven and earth pass away.
Laws are going to be on this earth until we die. Okay, so he's saying that the law
Show me anywhere at all Jesus says the law will go away when I die.
says it is fulfilled. Luke 24:44. Can you go there?
Fulfilled doesn't mean went away.
Yes. So he fulfilled it on earth, correct?
So now you're saying fulfilled does mean it went away.
He fulfilled it on earth, right? Meaning we do not have to do it. I'm not saying it goes away. It's still there, but we do not have to do it.
Okay,
You know
well,
what I'm
if it's
saying?
still there, then you still have to keep the law, right?
He did the work. Are you not getting that part?
Jesus did not come to abolish the law,
He came
according to Jesus
to
in Matthew
fulfill it.
5 on the Sermon of the Mount. The law will be fulfilled when heaven and earth pass away. And if you do not keep those laws better than the scribes and the Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven, is what Jesus says.
Do you not? Well, here's the thing: is you don't even believe that Jesus even died or resurrected. So there is no point of continuously telling you that he did the work. However, he fulfilled them. Fulfilled does not mean abolish. Keep that in
It
mind.
doesn't matter what I think about Jesus. It matters what Jesus is actually saying. Because even if I did accept all this is true, then the truth is what Jesus is saying is I have to keep that law to get to heaven until heaven and earth pass away. That's Jesus's truth.
Okay.
Jesus never tells anybody when I die, the law's going away and no, there's no more sins ever again. You can get that from Paul, but you can't get that from Jesus. Nowhere. It's not in a gospel at all. What?
Luke 24:44.
Luke 24:44. Yeah, that's just okay. Then he said to them, "These are my words that I spoke to you while I was still with you, that everything written about me in the law of Moses, which nothing was written about Jesus in the law of Moses, the prophets, and the Psalms must be fulfilled." This doesn't say the law is going away when I die.
That's what I'm saying. Fulfilled. That does not mean goes away.
Fulfilled doesn't mean went away.
Yes, we agree on that. So I don't know where there was confusion.
Then,
But yes, but
then I'm even more confused now because do you have to keep the law or not?
we can disagree. We can agree to disagree. Yeah.
Do you have to keep the law or not?
The ones that Jesus speaks about in Matthew 19.
So you think you have to keep 5 of 10 laws to get to heaven, and that was Jesus's message?
That is what he referred to.
All right, so that's what you think. We finally gotten here. We've got to Genesis beliefs.
It's not about what I think because you said it's about what Jesus says.
It is about what you think. We're debating each other on what each other thinks. So you think Jesus's message was keep these 5 out of 10 commandments, and you will get to heaven. That's now your position, right?
I'm reading you
until heaven and earth pass away.
I'm reading you scripture, what Jesus said.
Well, you're reading one scripture, what Jesus said.
Real quick, can you go to Romans?
That's Paul.
Romans 7.
That's Paul. Paul says the law is abolished. Paul says the law is gone away. He says one man brought sin into the world and one man took it out. And
Romans 7.
sin is transgression of the law. We don't need to go read Paul. I know what Paul says. I'm not going to disagree with you.
Well, why don't you want to read what Paul says?
Because I already know what Paul says. Paul says the law is abolished. Paul doesn't agree with Jesus or God. Because Jesus and God say the law will stand forever, all the days you live on the earth.
We're debating
until heaven and
Bible,
earth pass away.
We're debating the whole Bible, correct? Because it says in these prompts back here, it says...
Well, if you want to point out Paul's contradiction, that's fine. But we finally got you to an actual position, so I would assume we could build on that now.
So Romans 7:7 says, what shall we say then? That the law is sin? By no means. Yet if it had not been for the law, I would not have known sin. So what I'm trying to tell you is that the law was given to show how sinful humans are.
Sin is transgression of the law. If you're sinning, you're breaking the law.
To show how sinful humans are. So again,
Paul is saying the law went away, so sin is abolished along with the law. He says Jesus took sin out of the world. Sin doesn't exist anymore because the law is abolished. That's what Paul says.
Even when you say that, Jesus or God, you say that, God allowed certain things or God is unjust. Are you speaking about people? Are you speaking about God? Are you speaking about the will of humans? Or are you
I'm talking about God.
The will of God?
God is unjust. God does unjust things. He orders women be raped, babies bashed to pieces. He says you can own people as property. He says you can sell your daughter as property. He says to set women on fire if they have sex. This is not a good God. These are the laws that he gave his own chosen people who he treasures above everybody else. The Israelites are God's chosen people. He looks down on the rest of the world along with the Israelites. So we are lesser than them according to God.
Yeah, that's what Hebrew Israelites believe. That's their gospel, but I'm not a Hebrew
That's
Israelite.
what the book says. They are God's chosen people. And it says the entire world and the culmination of the prophecies is going to lick the dust off the feet of the Israelites. God promised them this.
You read the whole Bible, correct?
Yeah, have you?
Right. So do you know when it says that we are grafted in? Do you also know that it says that Jesus is for
That's Paul, and Paul is contradicting God and Jesus and you.
Okay, so you're talking about the whole Bible, right? So you're not just talking about certain verses that prove your point. You have to talk about the whole Bible, right? Right?
We can talk about the whole Bible, but we're going one point on the Bible at a time. We're not just bouncing around to whatever we want to.
You have an issue with some things that Paul says. You have an issue with some things that Paul says.
So do you. You said Jesus is saying you have to keep 5 of the 10 commandments. Paul says you don't have to keep any. Paul says the law is abolished, verbatim.
In that specific verse, those are the commandments.
So are you right or is Paul right?
This is the thing, you're speaking about people. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying Paul is right. I'm not saying you're right. But we're speaking.
How can you be right and Paul and Jesus at the same time if you're saying different things?
I'm not saying anything different. I specifically said that says
yes, you are. You're saying you have to keep 5 out of 10 commandments is what Jesus was saying, according to Matthew 19, right?
According to that specific verse, those are the things that he listed.
So are we going with that verse, or is we going with the whole Bible?
You asked about that specific verse, so I answered you. I don't really see where we're.
No, I've asked you your position, and that's what you brought up. You said Jesus says right here that you have to keep these 5 of 10 commandments, and that's
So
what
when
you
I
have to
brought
do. But I said, what about over here? Well, he says this, and you said, well, in 19 he says this. And then I asked you
So-
explicitly just a minute ago. I said, is it your position that you have to keep 5 of the 10 commands based on Jesus' words? And you said yes.
Why is it that when I asked your position, you said you were bringing up what Jesus was saying, but then when you ask my position and I bring up what Jesus is saying, it is now about my position and not about what the Bible is saying, because it seems as if you're being hypocritical in many ways. And like I said, I like you.
I know it seems like that because you don't actually understand what I'm telling you.
Well, maybe you don't understand.
So I can get how you're coming to that conclusion based on your cognitive dissonance right now.
Do you feel that you don't understand?
You're trying to smush a bunch of contradictory things. This is the typical Christian theology. You're trying to smash a bunch of things that don't make sense together to make sense, but that's impossible. You can't do it. That's why the book tells you things like don't lean on your own understanding. It's because you can't understand shit that don't make sense.
Amen. So just because.
All right. So was the law abolished according to Paul, or was it not abolished according to Jesus? Which one was right?
Whatever Jesus claimed out of his own mouth was correct. Okay.
So Jesus was right, Paul's wrong.
I don't, not necessarily. I'm not going to say Paul is wrong, but I will say that Paul was speaking about law as in you do not have to completely fulfill it with your human willpower, meaning Jesus fulfilled that. That's what he's saying. He's not saying that, okay.
And when is he saying the law will end?
He doesn't say the law will end. Like I said, law will be on this earth until we die.
Okay, so then Paul's wrong because Paul says when Jesus died, the law was abolished.
Sure, if you want to say Paul is wrong, I guess you could say wrong, but I believe that he was speaking.
How can he be right? How can the law be abolished and not abolished at the same time?
Fulfilled, meaning it's still on earth. The laws are still on earth. We have laws that we follow. But
this is what Paul says in Ephesians chapter 2. It says, for he is our peace. In his flesh he has made both into one and has broken down the dividing wall. That is the hostility between us, abolishing the law, its commandments and ordinances, that he might create in himself one new humanity in one place, thus making peace. So Paul's straight up saying the law is abolished. Jesus is saying the law will absolutely stand and not one dot nor stroke of a pen will change from the law until heaven and earth pass away. So is Jesus right and the law stands until heaven and earth pass away, or was Paul right and it was abolished when he died?
That he may create in himself. You read that part, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so we're talking about the whole Bible once again. And so when the Bible tells us...
Yeah, so this is what happens when we talk about the whole Bible at the same time. We have Paul saying the law is abolished, Jesus saying it's not. So which one?
Paul is saying that it is fulfilled with Jesus, meaning we don't have to...
No, I just read it to you. You heard me read it, right? Abolishing the law, its commandments and ordinances. Abolishing the law, its commandments and ordinances. Abolishing the law.
Yes,
right?
Because it is tattooed.
That means it's abolished, not fulfilled. Now you're back to saying fulfilled means the same thing as abolished.
No, I never said that. Fulfilled.
Yes, you did.
Did I say fulfilled means abolished?
You're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You're trying to make it seem like fulfillment means some of the law went away, except these 5 apparently, and at a totally different time that Paul's saying it changed. So when exactly did the law of Moses change in your mind? What do you think?
We don't have to keep every single law because Jesus knew that we wouldn't be able to.
Okay, so when did that change? When did that change?
When Jesus died on the cross, he fulfilled them, meaning brought to completion, them meaning that we don't have to do it.
So according to Paul, when Jesus died, the law and all its commands and ordinances were abolished.
For
all
us.
of it.
For us.
All of it, right?
for us.
So do you agree with Paul that that's correct? Or do you agree with Jesus in saying, when heaven and earth pass away, these 5 commandments will stand until then?
I think the conjunction we're using is but it's an and. It's not a this is what Jesus says, but this is what Paul says. Or it's not a but this is what Paul says, but this is what Jesus says.
They can't both be right. The law was either abolished or not.
2 things can be right at the same time. Jesus can fulfill.
A law can't be abolished and still stand at the same time. It's either abolished or it's not.
Abolished as in Jesus did it, so we do not have to do it. That is what I'm saying.
So it is abolished. No, I don't get what you're saying. I don't think you even get what you're saying.
Back to what I was saying about when you said God is unjust, right?
So when did it change? Is it going to change when heaven and earth pass away, or did it change when Jesus died?
Back to what we were saying about you saying God is unjust, right? That's what you said. You said God is unjust.
I'm asking you a specific question right now, and then we can get back to the justice part.
It seems that we're, hitting a disagreement there. So.
You're disagreeing with yourself, and you don't realize it.
We don't have to follow things that Jesus completed the intention of on the cross. That is my stance.
Okay, so the law's gone. It's abolished, right?
So God is unjust. Is that what you said? That is your claim.
Is the law gone? Is the law abolished?
I told you my stance.
I don't know what your stance is. You've changed it about 30 times in this conversation.
We don't have to follow it because Jesus completed it.
So it's still there. You just don't have to follow it. That's your position now?
Abolish for us.
So you don't have to follow those 5 commandments?
We follow the Holy Spirit, and I already know you don't believe in that, so there's no point. That's what I'm saying.
My goodness. All right, Genesis. Well, I don't think we're going to get anywhere. I think we've hit the dead end here. If you have a YouTube, check out my YouTube channel and go back with this and listen to yourself talking here. And honestly ask yourself if you're not contradicting your own words this whole time here.
Okay, what do you think I'm contradicting?
Go watch the video. I'm not going to say here. If I can't explain it to you at this point, I'm not going to be able to any further. So, like I said, maybe just take an honest reflection. Go check out the replay of this video when I upload it later on and rewatch what you're saying here. You're saying the law fulfilled means completion, but not that it went away, but you're saying it did go away. Then you said there was 10. Then you said, well, just 5 of 10. Then you said you don't have to keep them. Then you said, oh, I got to keep these 5. You're doing the typical Christian dance here. You're trying to make a whole bunch of stuff true at the same time that can't be true at the same time. And it makes you contradict yourself over and over. But like I said, that's all I know to tell you. Just go watch it. It's the best stuff.
So I wanted to debate, the slavery thing, and then I'm going to get off because I have to go to work. But you said that, he condones slavery. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you read just one, just so that they know what you're talking about? Just one verse where he condones it?
Sure, but before I do, can you tell us your actual stance on this? Do you think God doesn't allow slavery, or he does?
There is a difference between condoning for a certain period of time, or what's the word? Condoning or tolerating for a certain period of time. Versus
that's literally the definition of condoning. It means to permit or allow.
Okay, but do you believe that this is God's will?
If he allows it, he condones it. That's the point. So do you think he does or does not condone slavery based on that definition?
I believe he hates it.
Then why does he allow it?
I mean, the same reason you allow certain things you hate. If there's things going on in the world that
so God allows things he hates. Is that what you're saying? That's your stance now?
It's not his will, but he might allow something. Just like the other guy said. That's true. That's true.
Well, it's God's will that the Israelites don't eat shrimp. He said, don't do that.
Your point?
Just go rewatch the video. My point isn't clear. I don't think we're going to get anywhere in this. Wow.
No.
Anyway, Genesis, thanks for coming up. But I highly implore you to go rewatch yourself when I upload this replay and tell me if you place yourself outside of your body and just imagine you were listening to somebody else talk and see if you were really making sense right there. All right. Let's see. Got several other people. Oh yeah, Twisted Burden came back. I hope he's still here. Oh yeah, he got put off for a minute there. Oh boy, that was rough. That was rough. Good conversation, but rough. All right, let's see here. Check my analytics. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Send a quick message real quick. All right. All right. I mean, honestly, I wanted to talk with her some more too, but like at that point, like where are you gonna get for real? Like, what's your point? Like, if my point wasn't obvious, then it's not gonna be like. Well, anyway, I'll try not to talk too long about folks when they're not here anymore. So maybe I failed at that too. But anyway, let's try. Maybe we can bring Twisted back up. Twisted, you still there?
Yes, sir. How you doing, brother?
Oh, I hear you way better. Shit.
Yeah, I apologize, man. It is an old rig, and I'm up here in Cedar City, Utah, just back to a dock to get loaded on my way back home to Texas after this load. You know, my son's birthday's next week, so going home, there's things that I refuse to miss while being an over-the-road truck driver.
I hear you, dog. Be careful out there on the road, dog. It's some crazy shit.
Oh, dude, I just come out of Vegas, brother. Don't even get me started.
I hear you. I used to drive, man. I used to have a CDL, so I know.
Oh,
what
you
it's
did?
like.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Used to be a trucker, a mother trucker, big old mother trucker.
I'm coming in on
Anyway.
7 years of it, brother.
I hear you. Good job, man. That's a good living, I think. Hell, drive around, listen to podcasts all day, and make some pretty damn decent money these days.
There's a lot of money to be grabbed out here, and I'm finally starting to dabble. I just opened up my own LLC, and I'm actually working out a contract to buy this truck from my boss now that they've got a lot of the non-English speaking people off of the roads without the CDLs. Rates are starting to go up because demand has gone up. So, it's, the money's out there. It's, you just got to be willing to grab it.
I hear you. So which one of these topics you want to talk at us about today?
So just to kind of give you a little background here, I'm still studying the Bible. I was raised a quote unquote Christian in and out of the church. Being a Afghan vet, I ended up losing my faith a long time ago, and up to about a year ago, I was, kind of quote unquote reborn, I guess you could say. I'm not necessarily a Christian because I don't think you can call yourself a Christian and still live in sin. There's still sin that I battle with, and I do believe in God and I do have faith, but I refuse to call myself a Christian. Now what I want to know about is how I'm curious on why you're a former Christian and what your stance is on that and what turned you away, because that's something you and I can relate on.
All this stuff up here?
Okay. So
the Bible's debunked. God is an awful, awful deity to worship. I mean, he's unjust. Jesus doesn't actually fulfill any of these prophecies. Like, I see no reason at all to believe any of this.
Well, as far as the debunking goes, who are you basing your, like, who said that who told you that it was debunked and then you believed it was quote unquote debunked?
Well, I know it's debunked. I mean, scholars have debunked it. Archaeologists have debunked it. Historians have debunked it. It debunks itself if you just read it. Like, there's no line here that gets you straight to a loving God. Like, it don't exist. It's not in the book.
So, when there are still historians and archaeologists that use the Book of Acts to find, geological findings and find where the old cities are, they use that as a point of reference, and there's actually a lot of atheists that become archaeologists and historians, and then they end up using the Bible, seeing that the Bible is true, and that's what turns their faith. So, like,
well, what about the parts that's not true?
There are parts that is, that has changed over the years, and obviously, there has been, obviously, you being as educated as you are, and I'd like to think of myself somewhat educated, not quite to the level you are. And by the way, on that, thanks for
I
having
consider
me on.
myself
But
well informed, not really educated, but
that's fair. So the King James Version was obviously very heavily, like it was written in 1603, translated out and released, I believe, in 1617 or something like that.
yeah, it's garbage. I don't read that.
Yeah, there's so much of it that was changed to kind of cater to what he wanted, and there's a lot of poisonous ideologies put into the King James Version it's just not right. There's a lot of people that call themselves Christians that are not Christians because they follow or they want to believe a certain word put in there by a man. You know what I mean? So especially a man that had zero firsthand account, stuff like that. There's a lot of inconsistencies with the translation of the King James Version. Now,
well, I could read from a good translation and show you stuff that's still major wrong and contradictions.
right,
Bell
but there's also
prophecies,
still stuff that
I
is
mean, all
true.
that.
Like, I did hear
Yeah,
you say
but-
earlier. Well, I did hear you say earlier. You mentioned the Quran, and I can't remember exactly what the context was, but you defended a Quran's word by trying to in contrast with what they were arguing with about the Bible. But there's also
No, that's not what I said. No, that wasn't the point I made. I was just saying they fixed the Quran in the sense that they made it one big unified voice and not a bunch of contradictory voices. I was saying that's where the Quran corrected what the Bible messed up,
right, but also
which is not
the
really a
people
mess
who-
up, but technically.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of a more of a how do you say an implication or an implication to go read the Bible, because if you do know the Quran as well, the Quran does preach and condone to, if there's a Muslim or someone who questions the religious text of the Quran, they implore them to address the Bible and other religious texts such as the Torah. So the Quran actually does tell them to turn to those if they have questions about the Quran's word.
You want to talk to an actual rabbi?
Did I hear the
Absolutely.
Torah? Ooh,
She went,
I
Torah?
love the Torah.
Yeah, whoa, hold on. I don't. that felt like someone's pulling back a slingshot on me. I was defending the Torah. I wasn't
I
saying
didn't say
anything.
you weren't. I
Okay,
didn't
it
say you
sounded
were.
like someone was pulling back a slingshot, ready to come at me.
Oh, no.
No.
I'm much less eloquent when I'm going to come at you. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank God. All right. Oh,
Yeah,
had me
my
worried there for a second.
simplicity
It
is
just
straightforward.
it was a really interesting timing that you said Torah just as I was being led
Yeah,
up.
yeah, that's wild.
Told y'all strange things happen at the Apostate Ape channel here.
that was really cool.
Heck yeah.
But how are you doing, Miss Rabbi?
I'm good. I'm just Rabbi's fine.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm from East Texas. You're gonna have to forgive the respect.
Well, then it would
So-
be Mrs. I'm a married woman.
Oh, Mrs. All right.
I actually say miss a lot too. Okay.
And yeah, Mrs. a little quicker, and plus, we get in trouble if we say the wrong thing.
Oh no,
so
I get it.
just say,
I
yeah.
get it.
But I don't know if you heard like what I was saying was I was
I did.
comparing to what the. Oh, okay. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that you understood that I didn't say anything about the Torah in bad context.
No, I didn't think you did.
No, yeah. That's not what she's here. She
it
didn't.
was just interesting timing is all.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah.
But as far as that goes, there's debate amongst scholars, right? There's debate amongst like people that have actually done the archaeology and theologists and everything else. There's much more educated people than us that are debating. So you and I, we can continue this debate all day until they figure it out. We're not going to figure it out.
Actually,
So-
I can get a scholar up here if you like.
Well, that works too. That's
And a
fine. But also,
historian.
but there's also scholars that debate amongst themselves as well. So there will always be debate.
It would depend on the scholarship on who's debating, because the consensus of scholarship is that. I mean, there's a lot of consensus of scholarship, and then yes, you will have outliers. It depends
Right.
on what it depends absolutely on what the subject matter is.
Exactly. But I
Now, if
would
you're
like
meaning
to.
the Bible is historically accurate and all, it's not even close.
Oh no,
Not
it's
even a
not.
little bit.
I mean, we don't have archaeological evidence for about 98.9% of the Bible. Places, yes, there are places that we have encountered and archaeological findings have discovered. But
Right.
that's our
And they
only
use the
places.
Book of
I
Acts.
think the earliest person that we can verify actually existed is Solomon. Maybe
Right.
David.
I don't think anybody actually confirmed until the 1960s that Pontius Pilate was there was no historical
Right.
evidence at all for Pontius Pilate until like 1940 or 50 or 60 or something. But I mean, even now, there's barely anything about him. So I mean, like, if it's not reliable across the board, why is it reliable at all?
I don't think it's meant to be taken as literal history to have meaning. I
That's
think
a fair
that
statement.
meaning and truth and fact are completely different things. I don't think the
Right.
world had to flood for us to understand what the narrative of Noah is trying to tell us.
Yeah, and from a historical, archaeological, and scholarly perspective, that was just a plagiarized story from the Epic of Gilgamesh. That had
Yes.
existed for 1,000-something years
Well,
prior to that. Maybe
I
like
would say it's
1,400 years.
reframed.
Oh yeah,
A
that's
lot
fair.
of Genesis you'll find is reframed from earlier Akkadian myths, Mesopotamian myths, like the Epic of Gilgamesh,
Right, yeah.
like the
Good way to
Enuma
put that,
Elish, yeah, like earlier creation stories. They're often used as polemics. The text, the Torah text, is often a polemic, trying to bring order rather than the chaos that sometimes is present within the earlier, like Epic of Gilgamesh and Enuma Elish. I never say this right. I hope Josh Bowen isn't in here. Yeah, the Ugaritic text. At the Trassus. Oh God, he's gonna kick my ass if he's in here. Please don't be in here.
He's not. I'll message him though and tell him. I'm gonna tell on you if you say something wrong.
She pronounced it wrong again. Come get her. Yeah.
I'm gonna be like,
I got a
I'll
big
text
mouth.
him.
I'll be texting him right now. I'll be like, guess what?
I gotta tell you something really quick. Something happened yesterday. I was in another live. I got asked to come in and explain a Hebrew word, alma. And so I'm explaining it. The guy's asking me over and over and over again. And I'm like, I've already told you how many, I don't know how many different times I can tell you. And it's only used like 10 times in the entirety of the text, the blah, blah, blah. He's just arguing with me up and down. Josh comes in. The guy calms down. He says the exact same fucking thing that I said. And the guy's like, oh, really?
Oh, wow.
I was like, you son of a motherless goat.
That's not fair. Yeah, that's ridiculous. As if
Oh,
to
he
add
got
insult
called out.
to injury.
People
Yeah.
in the comments were like, she just told you the same damn thing.
Right. That's yeah. Like I've
But
been a
Josh is
mechanic for
awesome.
years, and there's like you see that everywhere. When when a woman comes in, there are literally people, or if a woman works behind a desk, like at a tractor rental place or a diesel shop or something like that, there's still whole ass grown ass men in 2026 that will come in and ask or tell them that they would rather speak to a man. Like that.
Oh,
That
that's
is
ridiculous.
it is horrific.
I've been tearing apart cars my whole life. My dad started putting me up on the engine block when I was 4 years old, telling me, hand me
Yeah.
this, hand me that. I hate cars nowadays.
My
You give me
my
an
dad
old-
didn't
old
teach me
car,
mechanics. My mother did. My mother taught me
See,
how to
that's
change
awesome.
brakes on a car. You know, like so as far as that stuff goes, like I give everybody a shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
I just thought it was funny they needed Josh. And Josh was like, literally was like, I think the rabbi already like explained this to you.
and
'Cause you know how he
I
is,
would
he's the
I would love angry atheists to explain how he thinks that I'm racist. And
Uh-oh, what
not just
happened?
he didn't say
He's basing
racist,
on-
he just said so fucking.
It's probably from something you said earlier that sort of sounded like that, but I didn't take
Oh.
it as racist though, personally.
What did I
Max
say earlier?
Ellenmeyer. What?
I didn't say
I
anything that
wasn't here.
pertained to race.
I wasn't here,
Well,
so I
it's-
can't tell you.
Something sort of did, but it didn't like ring in my head
Oh.
like it might have other people's. But
Did this already.
fuck, now I don't even think it was that big a deal because now I can't remember what it was. But
Was it me bringing up Muslims?
No, it was the people.
Oh, the
who speak a
non-English
different
speaking
language
thing.
driving the truck.
That's
yeah.
that's not
Yeah,
racist.
He
That's
pursued that
that's
as
not
racist.
necessarily racist. I would much prefer someone who knows how to read
Well, I
a
think at the
stop
time
sign.
he called it bigoted.
I mean,
which is a little
like,
bit broader definition than racist, but
right. Even
that's what
even
that's what
bigoted's
he
not
got that
true.
from.
That's
And
just
I,
if
well,
we had
we live
road
in a
signs
time
that
where
were
people who
translated,
usually
you
say
know,
that are taken as the bigots, but
right, they're usually, but that's not the case here. And you have
no,
no
I mean,
idea who I
I don't
voted
think it
for.
was.
I mean, like,
Where did I?
yeah,
Yeah,
like,
I'm not saying I did. I'm not trying to make something of it. I was just
even
saying.
then, you know, well, I was kind of explaining to angry atheists, you know, just because you vote for someone or just because you believe in something that you believe in doesn't make you a bad person, and we don't have to fucking hate each other because of it. We can have a friendly debate. You know, like that's
Sure, I guess, but the current administration
I don't
is pretty
understand.
damn rough. Yeah,
There's
it's
things
getting
that
really
are
hard to
debatable,
argue.
but,
If you voted for that, then you didn't have nothing to do with it. Like,
well, I mean, that's fair. You know, you condone whatever happens under that administration if you vote for that administration. That's just, yeah. I mean,
sure.
we all have that. Hopefully, a lot of us have that understanding.
You'd think. I'm not so sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, it's not everything's so black and white and good and evil that everybody just takes things at face value and just looks at that. They don't look past it. They refuse to look deeper into it.
I agree. So
But anyway, like
since we got a rabbi here, this would probably be a good time to compare stuff in the New Testament that says Jesus did this from the Old Testament. That way she can debunk it with actual
I
Jewish
actually,
perspective.
it's actually, I'm very curious on something, and I've always actually wanted to ask a rabbi this. So it makes this timing even greater, and it actually,
There you go.
it's actually in context to what you were debating the last guest with, was the contradiction of Paul and Jesus. Now,
Well, that's
Jesus
New
saw
Testament,
Paul
but
as right. Well, it's one of the contradictions and stuff, and I've always wanted to ask a rabbi this when it comes to faith versus works, because Paul did say that, you know, once that prophecy was fulfilled, laws are, you know, you're released from the law. You get into heaven by your faith alone. But Matthew tells you to follow the law. Like, what is, you know, like, can we dive into that contradiction?
So as Jewish people, we don't put much into faith as much as we do in what you do.
Right. Y'all believe works over faith, which is fine.
Yeah. So faith means nothing because your faith can ebb and flow.
Right.
So, you know, you can have the best faith and then you can have no faith. So that faith doesn't mean anything. What does mean things is how you present yourself in the world and what you are doing to try and repair the world. That is what counts. We don't have a religion that's built in faith, but in praxis. So works is how you prove your faith.
yeah, I mean, without works, faith is dead. It's pretty clear. I mean, in Matthew 25, when Jesus separates the sheep from the goats, he does it based on what they did, not what they believed or how much faith they had. He said, if you didn't give water to the thirsty or food to the hungry or visit people in prison for whatever reason he said that, then you're not getting to heaven. You're going to eternal fire. He never says nothing about belief or faith in Matthew 25.
Right. So I do works, right? You know, I do try to give back. You know, one of the main things I'm trying to set up right now is, you know, like I told you a minute ago, just started up my LLC. I want to start doing, you know, I'm about to buy my own trailer, stuff like that, so I get a little bit more percentage on when I lease to my boss. You being an ex-truck driver, you understand how that works. So one of the main things I would like to do, I want to start doing a yearly or annual or biannual charity that I want to be able to take like a trailer full of food somewhere, or, you know, a trailer full of jackets and shoes and clothes somewhere. I want to.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, because I got out of the military in 2014 and I was homeless for 2 years in South Houston. Didn't even have a car or truck to sleep in. Fast forward to now, you know, I've battled with Survivor's Guilt since then. Still have issues with it. Got injured overseas. You know, a little bit wild. You know, PTSD, TBI, brain injury, all that stuff.
I can only imagine, dude. I've thought about that before. It's scary.
It's nuts, man. And one of the things that I battled with for a long time was, you know, uninviting myself from the next census. Let's just say it that way. So, but I battled with that up until about a year ago, and fast forward to kind of now to where I'm at. My son will be 6 years old next week. 3 months ago, I bought my first piece of property. Now I'm a business owner. I've got a good woman at home. Things are working out. And I finally, even though I still don't have much, I want to be able to, because I do believe that faith works on a certain level. You have to have the faith, because if you just do the works, then what's the works about without the faith? You know what I mean? I want to do something
Works are about
to
the
give
works.
back.
Do good for goodness
And-
sakes.
Yeah, work
second,
is.
guys.
I think the works is what brings the faith.
Yeah, and that's
It's
the
sort
other
of
way
like
around,
fake
man.
it till you
Like,
make it.
you can have faith in anything you want to have faith in. It don't make any difference at all. It's kind of a weird concept if you really even think about it. But it really don't mean anything.
Well, I mean, I think it depends on what you have the faith in, right? If you have the
Yeah,
faith,
that's what I'm saying. You can have faith in whatever you want to have faith in, though. It don't even matter.
right? But if you have faith in the right things, you can have faith in the wrong things as well, and it not hold up. But if you have faith in the right things,
Sure.
then that would amplify the meaning of the works. You know what I mean?
Sure, but the works can stand on their own. Like, if you do good works, nobody's going to argue about your faith. Like, faith's not even going to come in. You'll be like, that was a badass motherfucker. Look at all the good, twisted trucker, big mother trucker did up in the world.
Yeah, and I'm working on that. Just a second, guys. I got to get my paperwork real quick. Hold on.
Put the seal on for Ardmore. Your second seal is right there.
Thank you, sir. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, you know how it is, host.
Yeah. Error, thank you, buddy.
So I'm sitting here prepping for class. I've got to teach. I teach a intro to the Hebrew Bible class, and this next class is framing the ancient Near Eastern world and Genesis 1 through 11.
That's cool.
You know I'm awesome.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I teach stuff sometimes. Not classes or anything. I just teach lessons. Not really. Starting to.
Gotta pull away from the dock so they can put my seal on. And it's a older unit, so the air up alarm is a little loud. I didn't want to annoy y'all with that nonsense.
Yeah, no worries. I figured you was doing something. I was waiting on you.
But
Instead, he had to listen to me talking about class structure.
oh no, you're good.
Oh, yes.
That's awesome. Anybody that does anything like that to turn people that way, that's incredible.
I teach at a seminary,
Okay.
and the class that we're doing is on Genesis 1 through 11 and the Near Ancient East world, and how the narration changes from the polemics of earlier texts into what it presents itself within the Hebrew text.
Oh, gotcha. So basically, you're just kind of comparing the two, or giving people the right, making sure they're educated on the right translation or the outlook of Genesis.
So it's sort of like this. I'm talking about how, like Mark Smith says in his book, like the Bible doesn't emerge in a vacuum, but in a cultural matrix of like West Asia. And to understand Genesis, you have to understand what Genesis was responding to, which is like the Enuma Elish and the Epic of Gilgamesh and the earlier Ugaritic texts. So Genesis is a response to these as a way to show order rather than chaos, and the polemics that it's using is how we come to the narratives that we see.
Interesting. I would. Is there a way I could get in on anything like that, or educate myself on that as well?
I don't teach classes outside. Well, I teach some classes on Patreon, but they're generally about, right now I'm going through the Canaanite Pantheon, but this is at the seminary that I teach.
Okay. Was
I
there
think a good question
any
for you
current
to ask,
text?
Twisted, would be. Oh, my bad. I was just saying, a good question for you to ask right now in regards to the law is like, according to the Jewish perspective or the Old Testament, does the law ever go away, or does like one person ever come and fix sin? What is the Messiah? All those will tie in together really good, I think.
Yeah.
Well, according to the Torah or the Tanakh, no, the law does not go away. And no, one person cannot fix anyone's sin. Is such an interesting word to me because that's not what the way it's translated into English for English speakers and for Christians is not how it translates in understanding the Hebrew. But one person cannot come and take on the transgressions of another human. That is, we are all responsible for our own destiny, what we have done, the thing where we have made mistakes, where we have missed the target. We then have to be the ones who repair that. Like, I couldn't ask you, apostate ape, like if I punched Twisted right there, if I just cocked back from Missabammy and just knocked him right in the face, like I could not ask you, apostate, to come and fix that for me. Because it wasn't you who hit him, it was me. And I couldn't go to God, and I couldn't say to God, hey, God, I know I hit this man, so can you forgive me? Because I didn't hurt God either. I hurt Twisted. So it would be Twisted that I have to go and make restitution to. I have to do what we call tshuva. I have to make repair with. Because I cannot go to God and say, can you forgive me for something that I didn't do against you?
Interesting. I like that.
So
Yeah,
to
we call it
translate that
tshuva.
into a problem for Christianity, one guy dying didn't fix anybody's sin. Like, you have to be responsible for your own sin, whatever that means. Doesn't even matter. One guy named Jesus can't come and die for your sins. According to the Old Testament, you are responsible for what you do. In the New Covenant, at minimum.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, see, but one thing I've had explained to me is that, and I've never been able to ask, an actual Jewish person, like, what it's about. But I've often heard that the Jews actually deny the events of Jesus being hung on the cross.
I don't think that we deny them. I think that's probably, people like to say things like that because it gives Jews a bad name. We don't think about it. The only time I think about Jesus is when a Christian asks me, hey, what do you think about Jesus? We don't spend time denying because we don't spend time thinking about this person. Do we think that a person named Yesu or Yeshu existed? Likely. That was a Jewish man who was teaching? Probably. But we don't really think very far past that. It's not
right,
because it just doesn't affect us.
Right. Or it could have actually, another translation of Yeshua is Joshua. So Jesus' name could have actually been
that
Joshua,
would be Yehoshua.
Yehoshua. Sorry, I mispronounced it.
Yeah, no, that would be Yehoshua. And
yeah.
At the time, it would have been Yesu or Yeshu for Jesus. Because what we see, etymology, did I say that right? Etymology, right? Yeah, I did. Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Etymologically speaking, what we see is Yesu or Yeshu, because there is no J. And from that, we go into the Greek and Latin, which is Iusis, because there's, again, no J. And then when we get into a language that has J, it goes from Iusis to Jesus.
Makes sense.
We weren't Jews, we were Yehudans. But then when we get into languages that have J's, that goes from the Y into the J.
Gotcha. There's still a lot about language I got to learn about. So, I'm still...
Yeah. There's lots about language I don't even understand. There's even stuff about Hebrew that sometimes even Josh is like, no, actually, that is a vav consecutive. Oh, is it? And I have to because I just know how to read it and what it says. I can break down the verbs, but sometimes I'm even wrong on the verbs, and I have to go, oh shit, I had that wrong. I did that happen a couple weeks ago. I did a Hebrew thing with him and Kip Davis on YouTube, I don't know if you watch Kip's channel, Apostate.
I do when I can. Yeah. I just
Yeah,
ain't had a
I
whole
would.
lot of extra free time.
Josh and I did. He does where he reads through the Hebrew text, and he does it in Hebrew, and we break down the verbs. And I've been a guest on there like 3 or 4 times, and it was this time Josh and I was reading something. He's like, "How are you actually translating that?" And I'm like, "I translate it like this." And he's like, "That's interesting because I translate it this way." And I was like, "But where are you getting that from? Like, why are you translating it this way?" I can't even remember what the word is now. This is what happens. You get old and you can't remember shit.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's the thing most Christians don't realize is that the New Testament is almost completely separated from the doctrine of the Old Testament. In fact, I say it all the time.
It is.
I'm not even sure the New Testament knew what the fuck it was talking about when it comes to the Old Testament, because the doctrines are so different. Like the New Testament says you have to have blood for forgiveness. The Old Testament, God says if you want forgiveness, just ask for it. Turn from your wicked ways. I mean, it's crazy simple like that. But there's all kind of differences. But the Old Testament has its own story to tell. It doesn't need Jesus for anything. Like it's its own story.
Right.
Stories, I should say.
Well, it is. You know, there was a, you know, the Old Testament versus the New Testament. This is kind of how I explain it. You know, the Old Testament was, you know, prior sacrifice. The New Testament is, you know, after sacrifice, quote unquote, obviously. But the as far as the doctrine goes and stuff like that, like even in, you know, that's why I don't really have a problem with anybody, because if the laws go away, like, you know, like Paul states, then Levitical law holds no bounds. You know what I mean? Like it's right. You know, there's zero deal to it. But also Leviticus is Old Testament. You know what I mean? A lot of Christians today don't follow Old Testament, but there are also a lot of quote unquote old school Christians that live off of the, you know, Old Testament. They look at Levitical law or just the laws of the Old Testament, and they still try to live by that, which is I don't think is fair. You know, because in the context of the Bible, you know, God sent his only son as a sacrifice, and the reason being for that was to pay for humanity's sin, because he gave the ultimate sacrifice. So yes, in that case and off of that context, there is nothing that you can do today that is quote unquote a sin. The only thing that you can get into heaven by is based on your faith. But there's still so many contradictions to that in the right, which, you know, there's still a lot of people that are, a lot of people that
apparently
aren't.
if you cut your wiener, you have to keep the old laws, even according to Paul, right?
Well, I didn't cut it. I don't remember that pain because I was an infant.
My Lord.
Yeah.
I've never been so happy to be a girl. Oh my Lord.
I actually, there was this, I was on a
Somebody
live
was going to cut mine. I wish I was a girl.
I was on this live a while back. It was just like, I was just listening to her, and she was on and on and on about how, like, she was quote unquote, you know, like she was somehow standing up for men's rights, but she was so hell bent on the fact that circumcision was great.
I don't know that
like
it's great, but
yeah,
I'm not a proponent of circumcision. I'll be quite honest with you. I don't do brisses.
Definitely
I don't
a form of
attend
bodily
brisses.
mutilation.
I mean, it is a form of mutilation, but not great. But she was going into this whole, you know, like they shove a metal rod in it to keep it stiff and stuff like that. I was like, I have a son who.
No, they don't.
Like, no, they don't. Like, I watched it happen, and no, they don't do any of that. She was just on and on about this whole deal she had no clue about. And then she stood on the hill that women can also be circumcised. I was like, that's...
They
what?
do.
They
remove... that happens in some third world countries. That they do actually do that to girls.
Right. But it's not really...
Bad.
You don't hear
it's
of
way
it
worse
here.
than with guys.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the point is, like, according to if you just go by the Old Testament, the New Testament can't even be true. It's just too far away. Like,
right.
When the New Covenant is formed in the Old Testament, it literally says Levitic priests are going to make sacrifices for all time. Like, the sacrifices are never supposed to stop, according to the Old Testament. So, I mean, for the New Testament to come along 500 years later and say, hey, guess what? They actually stopped because of this guy is pretty absurd. You know what I mean? Like, that's why Jews, I would imagine, didn't accept Jesus at the time. They were like, this dude is not no Messiah I was told about in my book. So he's just a fraud, basically. I mean, he wasn't fooling much of anybody except a few disciples.
Now, I did want to speak on the prophecy aspect of the promise.
Sure, I've only got about 5 more minutes, but go ahead.
Okay. So it is in the Bible, obviously, you only got 5 minutes, so we don't have, the time. According to the Bible, Jesus, quote unquote, fulfilled over 300, biblical prophecies. Now, 3 of note.
Well, that's according to Christians, not according to the Bible.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. So, but there are three prophecies that he did foresee, and like things that had happened that he did foresee happening. That was the birth, right? Also, the fact that he would be portrayed, or he would be betrayed for 30 pieces of silver.
You mean the virgin birth?
Yeah.
All right, Rabbi, get him.
Oh, what do you mean by virgin birth? Do you mean
the Immaculate Conception?
The Immaculate Conception is Mary, not Jesus.
Right. But it was the location, the Bethlehem and stuff, like it was that.
Oh, so yeah, Mary is the Immaculate Conception. There is some belief that that
No,
I know there has
from the Old Testament, the prophecy fulfilled.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Isaiah 7:14?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's
so
talking about
Isaiah
the fulfillment of the
7:14
prophecy
doesn't say that. It doesn't say virgin birth. It says an alma, and that she's already with child, and that she bears the child, and you see that then in Isaiah 8.
Yeah. So Matthew's just lying. There is no prophecy about a virgin birth of a Messiah.
Yeah. So what happens is, in fact, this is what I was talking about yesterday. Hold on and let me pull it up for you. Where is it? Because I was just talking about this literally yesterday. That is not it. Oh, yeah. So what we have here is, if we look at the Hebrew, the Masoretic text, I'll even use that. It says, Lachen yitin Adonai, hu lachem ot, hine ha'alma ha'ara ve'elodet ben vekaret semo Emmanuel. So hine is the kind of the important part, and ha'alma. Ha'alma means young lady, young woman, not virgin. If it meant to say a virgin, it would use the word betula. So it says a young woman is with child. Therefore, the Lord will give you a sign. Look, the young woman is with child. And the hene ha'alma is what is the important part here. The hene means like in this moment, right now. This is happening as we speak. Hene ha'alma hara, which is the woman is with child, and she shall bear a son. We'olet ben wekara samo, and call him Emmanuel. Now, what ends up happening is in the next chapter, in Isaiah 8, is when we see this child born. And when we go into 7:15, it talks about how this child, before he can eat honey, I think, what is it that says? Where is it? 7:15 says before he can eat honey, and where is it? I apologize.
Oh, you're good.
There it is. And it shall come to pass. Where's 14? Oh, that's 18. I was down to 18. Okay. Shall give you a sign. Behold, a young woman is pregnant and will bear a son, and she will call him Emmanuel. Butter and honey a child will eat before he knows to reject evil and choose the good. But before a child shall know to reject evil and good, the land shall be laid desolate on account of that which art astrait, because of 2 kings. So when we go into 8, let me pull that up. Give me a second. I have this all like in notes, and so I have to do a Control F because of my teacher assistant who streamlined all my notes for me because he's awesome. Okay.
W for him.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
So if you haven't figured it out, Twisted, what she's basically saying is there is no wording in here that says a virgin is going to give birth. This is saying a young woman is currently pregnant with this child that Isaiah is talking about, and this is 750 years before Jesus.
Yeah, if we look textually and walk it out, we go into the book of Isaiah 8:1-4 in the Masoretic text, which is the text from the 10th century that it provides the trope marks and the vowels, because before that there weren't vowels in the Hebrew.
That's interesting.
Oh yeah,
so that's wild.
If you think about English as an English reader, if something didn't have a vowel in it, you probably could read it. You probably could figure out what it is saying. That is the same with Hebrew. It's around the 10th century that the Masoretes decided to start putting in what we would call markings or curlicues, and they start putting in these dots and lines to represent what a vowel is supposed to be there.
Ah, that's pretty cool.
Okay. Then the
You should
Lord
get Dr.
said to me,
Josh's
"Take
book.
a
You
look."
can learn to read them with us, Twisted.
Oh yeah, Dr. Josh has got a great book.
I followed you, Apostate. Send me a link to it, bro. Like I would.
Oh, it's a really good one. It gives you the idea of Hebrew. Like if you've never even read one Hebrew letter, it starts from there. Like if you've never even heard a Hebrew, you could use this. Then the Lord said to me, "Take a large tablet, write on it common characters, Maher Shalah Hashbaz," and I got a reliable witness. Then I went to the prophetess, my wife, okay, and she conceived and bore a son. The Lord said to me, "Name him Maher Shalah Hashbaz. For the child knows how to cry, my father or my mother. The wealth of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria will be carried away by the king of Assyria." Now, why does that matter? God promises a child will be born. That is the sign. Immediately, Isaiah sleeps with the prophetess. She gives birth. The child is named. A time limit prophecy there is attached. So it is the most ordinary birth imaginable. There's no like miracle language there. There's no celestial intervention. There's no virginity emphasis. Just I went into the prophetess, because Isaiah's wife was a prophetess, which is Hebrew's polite way of saying we knocked the boots. I went into.
So basically, Emmanuel and Mashallah Halal Hazbaz El Supreme there, those are Isaiah's kids, not Messiah's. It even says that. And if you go down to the bottom of this chapter, it says, "See, I and the children whom the Lord has given me are signs and portents in Israel from the Lord of hosts who dwells on Mount Zion." It's literally saying these are his sons.
Yeah, please send me that book and stuff. I definitely want to read that.
Absolutely.
Anything that could. I give you a follow too, Rabbi. If you could, if y'all could. Yeah.
Well, I warn you. I am not your normal rabbi, so you'll see lots of stuff from me. Like I say that you can tell God to go fuck himself.
Ma'am, I'm not your normal guy, so you're not going to surprise me. Like
he's a big mother trucker.
My latest. Oh, my mother was my stepmother was a trucker, so on the road trucker. Probably where I got my language from. Oh yeah, that's where I got my language skills from. My latest video, Apostate, was literally saying that, like, I think when it says "Thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain," it doesn't mean that you can't call him a mother. You get the point. It means you can't do things in the name of God to harm people.
Right.
I'll call God all kinds of names in my backyard every day of the week. He can pull up. He knows my hands are rated E for Elohim.
Which there are a lot of people on this earth that have committed the most horrific crimes. In the name of God. Like, it is disgusting.
Yeah, do you want to go to heaven with them?
No, thank you.
I don't think they're, there's things that, there's an argument to say, like, it's obviously not as black and white or not as at face value of, like, sin, ask for forgiveness, maybe you're forgiven, and then continue to sin. Yeah, like, you can't do that. It's like, that's what a lot of people believe in their, lack of study and their lack of what the truth actually is. If you sin and you know you've sinned, shame is biblical, but you have to be able to use that shame and turn it to sin no more, and that's how you're forgiven. Like you can't just keep doing it as a pattern. You can't live a sinful patternful lifestyle. You know what I mean? And that's what I battle with. And one of the main things I battle with also, just another personal note, me doing the things that I've done overseas, I don't believe that when my judgment comes and I'm asked why I did what I did, I don't believe that I was told to do thus by thee is going to be a good enough excuse. I don't think it will be, because what just God would allow me there? You know what I mean? So I battle with that myself. But to try to regain somewhat good faith, I try to maintain my faith. But to prove my faith, I do try to give works. You know what I mean? I do donate. The Salvation Army helped me stop being homeless. So I give them $3,000 every year. Every Christmas, I donate $3,000 to Salvation Army. I also donate $2,000 a year to St. Jude's because I have a child. If my son ever falls sick with anything, he might need to go to St. Jude's, I will have donated to that cause. That's how I think. So I try to be a lot more respectful and think of other people other than just myself, unlike a lot of quote unquote self-proclaimed Christians. I don't let my words tell me who I am. I let my works tell me who I am, or show others who I am.
Well, this might sound a little messed up, but I think the fact that whatever you're talking about you did bothers you, that's a good thing. It's when those things probably stop bothering you is when you should really be worried.
Right. But I know you said you only had a few minutes left. You guys, I followed you both, and I love you both. Thank you for this opportunity to come up and speak, and thanks for the friendly debate. This was really, This is
interesting. Usually we get people yelling at us, so this was actually kind of refreshing.
Right?
The only thing yelling does is make themselves feel better. It doesn't do any good. Nothing gets done.
That's what I was saying earlier. They'd rather yell and persist and something like that than look stupid, at least in their head, which they look stupid anyway, so it doesn't do any good.
It's the same thing. Like when I scrolled over your live, you said earlier, a lot of people come in. You try not to be insulting because, at that point, once you start insulting them, they're not going to hang on anything you say. It's meaningless because that's the only deal you're coming from. But the same logic can be argued about the politics as well. When the left or the right goes at each other's throats and they're just insulting each other, neither of them are listening to each other. Nothing's going to get done.
True.
It's just how the world works.
Yeah.
It's, logically plausible. But, I can't get mad at you and then run out here in the world and believe I'm a good person. I can't do it because there's no such thing as a good person. The only good person there ever was, or the only good being there ever was God. If I want to follow the actual word, then that's the truth. There's no such thing as a good person.
Well, the way I look at it is there's no such thing as a good God anywhere in these texts in this book either. Unless you cherry pick a few parts that make it look okay.
I'm a Jew.
Right.
Jews don't believe that God is all good. We believe God is flawed in all manners of ways, and that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. And it's, just like in life, it's good for anybody to have some constructive criticism. That's how I see it. If I stutter a little bit, I apologize. I'm just trying to...
No. I actually think, apostate, that's where people go into the weeds. They say God is all loving, God is all good. But then when you show them, the text doesn't say that.
Right.
The text doesn't show an all loving God, an all good God. It shows a God that is inherently flawed. It shows a God that fucks up royally and then has to figure out how to fix it and has to learn and has to continue to learn. Then it's like, no, we can't have that. But they don't understand that Near East, the ancient people of antiquity, let me try that.
Yeah.
They saw their deity as very much like them, except turned up to 11. Their emotions were turned up to 11. The way hell, in the Epic of Gilgamesh, the whole reason that the flood narrative happens is because Atrahas thought the world was being too loud. was tired of people being too loud and said, I'm going to flood the earth because they were disturbing my sleep. Whereas the Hebrew text comes in, reframes that as divine justice, saying the reason this divine justice has to happen isn't because this God that says you guys are being too noisy, but because you've gone into lawlessness and wickedness. And so I have to start over. So it acts as a polemic against the epic of Gilgamesh, where you have these gods going, you're being too loud.
Yeah, y'all giving me a lot to think about today. You know, I definitely want to increase my study and, you know, definitely look more into
Hey,
this.
if you're a
You know,
driver,
like, I
that's the
don't.
time to do it, man. You can listen to books when you're
Oh,
on the road.
yeah,
listen
I listen to
You know
audio
what?
books. I listen to.
If
Recently, I
you
just got done with the Book of Enoch, but right now I'm actually
Book of
going
Enoch's
into.
good.
I'm just now going into Ecclesiastes because I had
Ecclesiastes
a
is good.
scripture. Had a
Ooh,
scripture
yikes.
that really, really touched my heart the other day because I've been
Right.
told I'm pretty wise by how I say things and present myself. But Ecclesiastes 1:18, you know, it states that wisdom, you know, the more wise you are, the more sorrowful you are, because it's in the context of understanding the realities and the sadnesses of life and human limitations. Like it's
It also
it's so
says when
far
life ends,
incredible.
it's over.
Yeah, like
You go to
it's
the dust in Ecclesiastes, there is no afterlife.
right.
Also,
so
if
I'm still
you
studying.
listen to audiobooks and you want to understand more of a historical context, Dr. Joshua Bowen, I know I talk about him a lot because you know, has 2 books called An Atheist Guide to the Old Testament, Volume 1 and 2. Now, it says An Atheist Guide because he's trying to explain to atheists how people see the text and how the text has been framed. Those I
Right.
suggest to anybody who wants to understand it from a more historical perspective.
See, that's a
Really,
perspective I
really
like
good
to see
stuff.
things from because I love history. Like
Yeah, so
you can learn a lot
yeah.
from history because if you stop teaching history, all it does is repeat itself. We don't learn.
So I threw you a follow. I will message you the titles of the books that I suggest,
Okay.
and you can get them on audio. I do the same thing. When I'm doing stuff because I multitask. I tend to put in a book that I'm listening to while I'm working, so that I can. Otherwise, I wouldn't get through half the books that I need to get through when I'm doing interviews and such. So I tend to get audio books to listen to while I'm doing stuff. So. Yeah, I'll send you over the titles of those books. He also has one about slavery. Does the Bible condone slavery? But I don't know if that's an audio book or not.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. But guys,
All
I
good
gotta
stuff
dip. I
there,
gotta get
buddy.
rolling to Oklahoma and then deliver in
Please be
San
safe
Antonio
out
and then
there.
head home. I sure will. Thank y'all so much for this opportunity and thank you for
Yeah,
being
buddy, stay
respectful
safe out there on
hosts
the
and
road,
guests.
man. Stay out of them
Yeah,
crazy
stay safe.
hotels in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, dude, I
Seriously.
don't, man. I stay in my truck, bro.
Bro, I
That's
stayed in some
smart.
of the shakiest places I've ever heard of. Like, oh my
Dude,
God, I could tell you
dude,
some
in the
crazy
past,
stories.
so just to kind of give you an idea, like yesterday, I finally had a day off in Vegas. Never had a day off in Vegas, right? So I delivered early yesterday morning, and I didn't have a pickup until this morning, which I just got done with. What did I do? Did I go to the strip? Did I go to the casino? Did I go to the bars? God, no. I went to Elite Off-Road, and I went and rode Can-Ams through the dunes. That's the stuff I like
Fuck
to do.
yeah.
I don't
I got
like to
married
stay
in
away
Vegas.
from people, bro. Did you really?
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Would Preacher Man look like Elvis?
No, that was like $600
Oh.
fucking dollars, and that was a long time ago. I was like, I'm not paying somebody $600 to work for 20 minutes.
Right.
It's not happening.
I
Like,
think
I'd
they
rather
do
just have a
quickie bar
friend come and
mitzvahs in
dress up
Vegas,
like
too.
Elvis or something. Like, I can't do it, man.
Yeah.
Not, not for $600 anyway. I was like, no.
That's
I ain't.
awesome. Oh man,
But all right,
that's
guys.
great.
Well, I'm out of here. This was day number 92 in a freaking row. I've been up here debating people.
I missed you yesterday. I woke up late. You were
Talking
already
here.
gone.
I had a really good one yesterday too. It was really good. We talked to the same guy the whole time yesterday almost.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you have a good one. Have a good day. Be safe.
You be safe, my guys. I
Back
love
at
y'all.
you guys. And if y'all hadn't followed my YouTube, you can check out my replays up there at Apostate Ape also. So y'all check those out. Rabbi, I hope you have a wonderful day.
You
See
too,
you around,
Apostate. Have a good one.
We'll see you around the algorithms, I reckon. Peace out, y'all. I appreciate you. We'll catch you later. Later as in tomorrow. Peace out.